Time, just a couple of things as we talk to Raider coach John Beerworth. It'll be Brattleboro number 1 in the postseason. Brattleboro defeating Mount Anthony last night. Middlebury number 2. Middlebury wrapping up with a victory. Rutland in 3rd place, and Essex getting the number 4 spot in the postseason. So next week, Essex will be at Brattleboro. Rutland will be at Middlebury in the semis. That is definite, regardless of how this game this afternoon turns out. The Raiders come into this game at 5-3 on the year. The Mounties at 1-6 on the year. Already, win or lose for the Raider football team this afternoon. A great day for Rutland High as the field hockey team at Rutland High defeated Spalding by a score of 1-0 and won the Division I state championship and wrapped up the year unbeaten. So congratulations to the Rutland High field hockey team. And on the MSJ side, on a personal note and a more serious note, I'm very happy to see that Dr. Bob Kaloche is here today. Bob, an assistant coach at MSJ and the JV football coach at MSJ as well. Certainly a tragedy in Bob's family this past week. His wife Joy passed away on Sunday, but it's good to see that Bob is here at this football game this afternoon. So it's Rutland and MSJ. Vince, this is your second city battle. You were over at Alumni Field a year ago. It is something special in this town. A huge crowd. The fans continue to file in, regardless of who's going to go on and who isn't. This is always, I'm just going to repeat it again, really special in this town.
Well, it's been said all week long, Jack, and virtually all season and probably all history long, that you throw the records right out the window when these two teams take the football field. It's going to be a close game right down to the wire, and that's what everybody in attendance is hoping for. And for those that don't really understand the magnitude of this game, Jack even brushed his hair for this game, so that gives you an idea of the size and the magnitude of this game here this afternoon. Also, I'm not going to eat my Pasquale sub until post-game, so right then and there, you know that this game is big between Rutland and MSJ for the 60th time.
Good to see you're intense for this one, too. Of course, the Raiders under Coach John Beerworth going on to the postseason. The Mounties under Coach Brian Grady. This, of course, would make their season. It has happened in past years that a team that has nothing to lose does indeed come on and win this game. That's certainly the pregame hype. MSJ nothing to lose. In many ways, Rutland nothing to lose either since they are in the postseason. But the thing is, when you're the favorite, people expect you to win this one.
Well, the only thing that Rutland can really gain in this game is more momentum going into the playoffs. And actually, which Rutland team is going to show up here today has a lot to do with the outcome of this game here this afternoon. The team we saw last weekend against Mount Anthony is certainly capable of going on and winning the state championship. Not so with some of the other performances that we've seen out of the Raiders. On the MSJ side of the football, they've played fairly consistent all year long. They've just had a couple bad breaks here and there. Coming off a big win, their first and only win of the season against Burlington, gave them the momentum and the confidence that they needed coming into this game here. And if you look at both sides of the football here this afternoon, Jack, teams will be concentrating on the defensive side of stopping one of 4, if not all of 4, players from either side. MSJ keying offensively on the defensive side against Anagnos, Sin, Gagne, and Welch, the 4 big offensive weapons for Rutland. Whereas Rutland on the defensive side of the football, keying on Keenan, Nichols, Rogers, and Canella. A lot of big names. You've heard those names all year long as the big play people for both schools. So that's what's going to go on here this afternoon, and I'm just excited to be here.
And we'll have the quad captains for both sides meeting at midfield momentarily here. Huge crowd at St. Peter's Field. Overcast skies. Temperature not bad. We are expecting rain in our forecast. Hopefully it holds off until the end of the game and later on today, and that's what we're keeping our fingers crossed for as well. Rutland High and MSJ, St. Peter's Field, the way things ought to be. And this is the 60th annual clash year. Again, Rutland leads in the series 29-24 with 6 ties. MSJ has won the last 2 years. And so, of course, an MSJ victory today, that would be 3 straight victories. They would retire the Veterans Council trophy. That's what you get permanently for winning 3 straight city classics. And Rutland would like to stop MSJ from retiring the latest trophy. And we'll be back with more on our pregame show after the 60-second timeout. Captains meeting in midfield for the Raiders, Jacob Dowdy, Jeff Sin, Matt Walterscheid, and Jim Hill. For the Mounties, Jason Gragan, Jeff Posebut, Matt Rogers, and Justin Cannella. Of course, the Raiders are the visiting team. They'll be calling the coin toss here as we wait. Certainly the butterflies are jumping for all the players. Talked to a couple of the players yesterday, and they told me they were very nervous, and that was over 24 hours from kickoff time here.
Once the game gets going, though, things will tend to settle down. Maybe the first possession for either team, the butterflies will show up, but as the game wears on, the intensity will certainly take over.
And we'll wait and see here. Rutland has won the toss. They have deferred the choice to the second half. So MSJ will get the choice at the beginning of the football game here. So MSJ will be receiving the opening kickoff and defending the goal off to our left. MSJ will be going left to right here in the first quarter. Rutland High will be going right to left against the Raiders won the toss and elected to defer the choice to the second half. No real wind to speak of. Certainly, I don't believe that will be a factor. Both teams will be introduced by the public address announcer, Carl Anderson, this afternoon. So we'll be back with more on the pregame show after the 60-second timeout.
Number 8, Jim and Agnes. Number 17, Christian Hiller. Number 21, Jason Beerley. Number 23, Captain Jacob Downey. Number 27, Ryan Welch. Number 42, Randy Gagne. Number 44, Captain Jeff Sin. Number 45, Greg Bromley. Number 50, Mike Abatel. Number 52, Bill Drew. Number 54, Captain Matt Walterscheid. Number 56, Captain Jim Hill. Number 58, Mike Clark. Number 62, Kyle Miller. Number 66, Jeff Poremski. Number 80, Mike Diana. Number 86, Steve Bernier. Number 88, Justin Pulte. Number 89, Kyle Berquist. The Raiders are coached by John Beerworth. And for the Body, seniors playing in their last game, number 26, Captain Justin Cannella. Number 32, Captain Matt Rogers. Number 36, Eric Cavalieri. Number 43, Scott Nichols. Number 65, Captain Jason Dragon. Number 73, Captain Jeff Posabut. Number 76, Luke Austin. Number 78, David Paul. Number 88, Aaron Green. And also a player who has been injured all year, Larry Caruso. The Mounties are coached by Brian Gray. Would you now please rise for the playing of the national anthem, which will be sung by former MSJ student Healey Welch.
And we're back at St. Peter's Field, and ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. apologize, we didn't really pick that up too well because the speakers down below in the field were used for that. I believe that was Amy Welch in the national anthem here, former MSJ student Amy Welch. So we're going to be set to go here for the 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game at St. Peter's Field. Again, if you missed it earlier in the field hockey game in Division I, the Rutland Raiders won the state championship by stopping Spalding by a score of 1-0. I guess the Butterflies, you already mentioned, Vince, don't go until that first hit of the ball game.
Well, that's for the players from their standpoint. I don't know about the Butterflies for Jack Healey. They'll probably go until late Tuesday afternoon or early into Wednesday once this game is finally in the history books. Virtually, you can pretty much call this Pride Bowl 93. Really, that's probably the biggest thing at stake here is pride in the city of Rutland between both schools.
John Hackett and Scott Nichols back deep for the Mounties, and again the Mounties going left to right here in the first quarter, the Raiders right to left. Christian Healey will be doing the booting for Rutland High. It'll be the final game of the year for MSJ. For the Raiders, it's on to Middlebury on Friday night in the Division I Sunrise. Christian Healey has the football teed up on the near hash mark. And here's the boat. The 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game is underway. On a hop, it goes to Nichols at the 8-yard line as he takes it left across the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and Nichols is knocked out of bounds at the Mountie 42-yard line by the kicker, Christian Healey. So Scott Nichols returning the kick some 35 yards, and the Mounties have pretty good field position here to start it off 1st and 10 at their own 42-yard line.
Ideal way to start this football game off, Jack, for two reasons. Obviously, good field position, and secondly, and maybe more importantly, it got the crowd involved in the game on the first play.
Sean Keenan, the quarterback, a couple of wide outs left, and Rogers wide right. Canella is the wing right. In motion now is Nichols left to right. Keenan back to throw, rolls right. First play from scrimmage, fires, and it goes incomplete. He underthrows. Scott Nichols down around the Raider 37-yard line, so the Mounties will have it 2nd and 10 at their own 42-yard line.
Good block in the backfield that time by Justin Canella, number 26 for MSJ. As Keenan rolled to his right, looked upfield, there was a few people open, he just underthrew it across the middle of the field.
The market at the left side hash mark. Jason Bragan is the center. He's over the football. As now, here's the pitch to Nichols as he sweeps it right, cuts it inside 45, 50, and he's down at the Raider 45-yard line. Scott Nichols getting the pitch, dropped by Brent Bliss and Kyle Berquist, and that is a Mountie first down. Picked up about 12 on the pitch to Scott Nichols. Kyle Berquist, by the way, for the Raiders, in on that tackle today, celebrating his 17th birthday. 1st and 10 for the Mounties, the Raider 46. Handoff to Nichols straight ahead, and he picks up 2, maybe 3 yards, gets it to the Raider 43, jumps in there to wrap him up. Well, we're just underway. The Mounties have picked up a first down on the first series of the football game after a nice return of the opening kickoff by Nichols. Ben Anderson is in defensively for the Raiders for Jeff Sin. It'll be 2nd and 8 for the Mounties as they mark it at the Raider 43-yard line. Here's the pitch now to Nichols, and Nichols gets a couple down close to the 41. Jim Hill there to wrap him up for Rutland High. Mike Abatel was over there on the play as well. The mark it at the 42, so it picked up about a yard, and it will be 3rd down and 7 for the Mounties at that point. Market between the hash marks. Now the Mounties operate out of the I. Canella and Bombargi. Back to throw is Keenan. Throws, and it is complete to Rogers near sideline at the Raider 33-yard line as he immediately stepped out of bounds. It picked up 9 and a Mountie first down. 1st and 10 MSJ. They're going to mark it at the Raider 33-yard line. So the Mounties have come out firing here in the early going.
Well, Keenan had to avoid a lot of pressure in the pocket, stepped up nicely and hit Rogers downfield for the 2nd first down of the opening drive.
Mark it at the right side hash mark. Nice catch by Rogers. And the handoff goes to Bombargi straight ahead inside the Raider 30 and down at the Raider 28-yard line. Pickup of close to 5. Mike Abatel there on the stop. Jacob Downey there as well. They're going to mark it at the Raider 29. Pickup of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 for MSJ. Joe Lorman comes into the football game now for the Mounties. And Jeremy Bartlett, who was in, is out. Double wing set up. Lorman on the right side. Nichols on the left. Wide left is Rogers. Tight right, Stevens. And now a broken play as Keenan takes it right. Nobody there to pitch to, and he rumbled out of bounds here near sideline. It lost about 4. Rumbled out of bounds around the Raider 35-yard line. And I believe it was Brent Bliss that came over to knock him out of bounds. It lost a yardage back to the 36. And it lost about 7.
Keenan was trying to audible from the line of scrimmage, and I don't think he communicated too well. As it was a broken play, and Walterscheid caused a lot of the havoc in the backfield, and Bliss wrapped up Keenan for a loss of 4 on the play.
Well, the Mounties now have it 3rd and 12 at the Raider 36-yard line. Keenan on a handoff to Bombargi, straight ahead to the 30, to the 25, takes it right, dives his way out of the 19-yard line, dropped by Kyle Berquist, a pickup of 17 for Kurt Bombargi, and another Mountie first down, 1st and 10 at the Raider 19-yard line.
Number 64 for MSJ, Rourke Hart, did an excellent job of blocking downfield, and that freed Bombargi up for the big gain for the Mounties in their 3rd first down of the opening drive already.
9:34 left, first quarter, no score. The Mounties on the move. They have it 1st and 10 at the Raider 19. Canella the up back, Bombargi the deep back. It goes to Canella straight ahead, breaks a tackle, fumbles the football, and I believe the Raiders have recovered. And they have. That is the first turnover of the football game. And I believe Mike Clark recovered the football. So the Mounties, who had picked up 3 first downs and were really moving the football, fumble it away, and the Raiders have recovered. 1st and 10, they have it at their own 18-yard line.
Unfortunate bounce that time for MSJ, and Rutland was right there in the form of number 58, Mike Clark, to pounce on the football, and a big momentum swinger in the favor of the Raiders.
Raiders have it at their own 18 as they turn the Mounties away. Jimmy and Agnes is the quarterback, double wing set up. Fumbles the snap, and a scramble for the football. And Jimmy and Agnes recovers his own fumble back at the 16. It lost a couple. It'll be 2nd and 12.
There might be that butterfly story you were talking about to start this game, Jack. A little bit of nervousness, perhaps, on both sides of the football, having a hard time holding on here early on.
Ryan McIntyre is a wing left. Welch is a wing on the right. Gagne wide right. As an Agnes back to throw. Throws right, and it's knocked away, incomplete. It's knocked away by Kurt Bombargi. The pass was intended for Randy Gagne up around the Raider 23-yard line.
Bombargi at the last second just stuck his left hand up to deflect that pass away, and that would have been probably enough for a first down for Rutland had Gagne got the pass, and that's the big connection that Rutland's going to be looking to all afternoon, is an Agnes to Gagne downfield.
So it's 3rd and 12 for the Raiders at their own 16-yard line. Jacob Downey is the lone setback. Double wing set up, and Agnes barks him out. Play action, back to throw, pressured, throws. It is complete to Bliss at the 25, and Bliss is dropped at the Raider 28-yard line. As Matt Rogers there on the stop, it picked up about 12. That's what they needed for a first down, and it is a Raider first down. Big 3rd down pass completion from Jimmy and Agnes to Brent Bliss.
And Anagnos was pressured in the backfield, stepped up nicely to his right, and threw the completion to Bliss, and Bliss did the rest of the work, getting the first down for the Raiders.
So 1st and 10 for the Raiders, their own 28. Gagne is wide left, Kuchar in, a wing left. Wing right is Welch. And Welch gets the call as he sweeps it left. And he is dropped at about the 30-yard line by Matt Rogers. Picked up a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8 for Welcome High. Just joining us, the Raiders got the football on the fumble recovery by Mike Clark as the Mounties had picked up 3 first downs. Got a nice run back by Scott Nichols on the opening kick. And the Raiders have picked up a first down coming back the other way. They now have it 2nd and 8 at their own 30-yard line. No score. 7:50 remaining in the first quarter here at St. Peter's Field. Wide right, Randy Gagne. Rick Kuchar is a wing left. Barron is in, set back behind Anagnos. He gets the call straight ahead, and he gets it out to about the 33-yard line, tripped up there. David Paul there on the stop. As Brent Bliss comes back in, Welch is out, and Sin comes in offensively. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Christian Hiller comes out of the football game as well for the Raiders. Raiders have a 3rd and 5 at their own 33-yard line. It's a long 5. Gagne wide right. Sin now is a wing right. Jeff McFerrin, the lone setback. And the play action for Anagas. Throws long, and it goes incomplete. He wanted Randy Gagne down around the Mountie 45. Randy turned toward the far sideline, and the pass went down the middle, and it went incomplete, and the Raiders will have to boot the football away. 4th and a long 5 at their own 33-yard line.
Good play selection that time by the Raiders. The fake to Sin in the backfield froze the defense for a split second, and that left single coverage with Hackett on Gagne downfield, and it just looked as though he turned the wrong way over the wrong shoulder, and had he come back towards the middle side of the football field, he probably would have had that completion.
Hiller back to boot around his own 20. Hackett and Nichols back around the Mountie 37. Scoreless ball game. 6:56 remaining in the first quarter. Snap is a good one. And Hiller gets the boot away. Line drive, boot to Nichols at the Mountie 40. Takes it left, retreats back to the 35, and he's down at the Mountie 33. Is getting down there to tackle him was Frankie Vaccaro. So Nichols retreated about 5 to 7 yards, and he was tackled by Vaccaro. So for the second time, the Mounties go on the offense. They moved the ball very well their first time. They have a 1st and 10 at their own 33-yard line.
Excellent punt coverage that time by the Raiders. And one person on the Rutland roster that you're going to have a hard time outrunning is Frankie Vaccaro, as he beat everybody down the field. And doing a nice job of downfield punt coverage for the Raiders was Frankie Vaccaro.
And Nichols getting a breather as Hackett brings it wide right. Wide left is Rogers. Couple of setbacks behind Sean Keenan. And the handoff goes to Lorman, and Lorman off right tackle for a couple out to the 35. 2nd and 8 MSJ. Matt Walter Scheib there along with Brent Bliss to drop him after the pickup of 2.
Norman usually lines up on the outside of the formation. That time they sent him up the middle. He gained a couple for the Mounties.
Jason Gregg in the center over the football. Norman now is a wing right. Hackett is the lone setback. Also right is Bombargi. Play action Keenan. Rolls right, looking to throw, looking, fires. It is complete to Bombargi at the 50-yard line, and he's dropped at the Raider 49-yard line by Bill Drew. Picked up 16 on a Mountie 1st down, 1st and 10 at the Raider 49-yard line.
Well, Lorman ran the football on the play before that. This time he threw a great block that gave Keenan enough time to roll to his right, look downfield, and he threw a bullet to Bombargi downfield, enough for another 1st down for the Mounties.
Wide left is Rogers, double wing set up right. Now Lorman in motion right to left. Hand off to Nichols, straight ahead. A little bit of an opening. Gets his way down to about the 46-yard line. Sin there along with Clark for Rutland High. Going to mark it at the 46, pickup of 3. So the Mounties have it 2nd and 7 at the Raider 46. No score, 5:38 remaining here in the first quarter at St. Peter's Field. Rogers now wide right. Stevens is tight left. Slot right is Nichols. Lorman and Bombargi in the backfield behind Keenan. Back to throw. Looking, pumps once, throws, and it goes incomplete. It was deflected by Jeff Sin, I believe, either Sin or Clark. They were both there. It'll be 3rd and 7 for the Mounties at the Raider 46.
Well, that's obviously one of the concerns for the Raider defense is stopping Sean Keenan's ability to throw the ball downfield. We've seen it on a couple occasions already early on in the first quarter. His ability to look downfield and throw a strike, completing it for 1st down yardage. That time either Sin or Clark got his hand up and knocked the ball away.
Pinello's in now as the handoff goes to Bombargi straight ahead, and he picks up about 3, dropped at the Raider 43-yard line by Bill Drew. And so it'll be 4th down and about 5 for the Mounties at that point. The Raider 43, and it appears that they're going to boot the football away. It's always, any big game is a game of field position. That's what they're looking for. As Vaccaro and McIntyre go back deep for the Raiders. Back around the 10-yard line. Back to boot at his own 45, Scott Nichols, and he pops this one up, and it goes out of bounds. And this is, let's see, they are going to say it went out of bounds at the Raider 35-yard line. So the Raiders get good field position here. Wait a second, the referee is going back up the sideline here. He was lined up at the 35. It's going to be even better field position for the Raiders. They're going to have it at their own 41-yard line. So So that popped up off the side of Scott Nichols' foot and came out of bounds. It went out of bounds at the Raider 41. And so the Raiders get excellent field position, and Jimmy and Agnes wants a timeout. No score, 4:48 remaining first quarter. The Raiders will have it 1st and 10 at their own 41 when we come back. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
3-7 at Pop College.
1st and 10 Raiders, their own 41-yard line, no score, 4:48 remaining first quarter. The 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game from St. Peter's Field on WSYB Rutland.
Well, one of the things we're looking to see all afternoon long is excellent quarterbacking by Anagnos and Keenan. Already Keenan has 2 first down completions of 9 and 16 yards. Anagnos from Rutland has a first down completion of 12 yards already here in the first quarter.
Jimmy Anagnos, the senior quarterback, McFerrin and Sin are the setbacks. Wing left is Kuchar. The ends are tight, and Anagnos has trouble with the snap and got the handle and manages to give it to Sin, and he pokes his way out to the 45, so a broken play ended up in a 4-yard pickup. Eric Cavalieri there on the stop for MSJ. Going to mark it just shy of the 45. We'll call it the 45. 2nd and 6 for the Raiders at that point. Mark it between the hash marks. Mike Abatel is the center. Agnes on the give to Sin off right tackle, and he cracks his way out to about the 48-yard line, a pickup of 3. And Matt Rogers there on the stop. It'll be 3rd down close to 2 for the Raiders at their own 48-yard line.
Well, 2 runs in a row for Jeff Sin, and thinking back to a week ago, he was a big part of that big win over Mount Anthony, and his ability to run the football certainly opens things up for Anagnos to look downfield to Gagne as this game wears on.
Gagne's back in, he's wide left as the Raiders operate in the power I setup. 3rd down and 2, their own 48. Hand off to Welch, takes it right, and nothing doing. Manages to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe, as there on the tackle was John Johnson.
And you just heard Jack Johnson echo our opinion up here. A good ball pursuit that time by his son, John Johnson, for the Mounties.
So the Raiders have it 4th down and a long 2 at their own 48. That actually lost about a half yard. And Hiller back to boot at the Raider 35-yard line. Either Hackett or Nichols back around the Mountie 20. The snap is a good one. And Hiller, a line drive boot. This will hop past Nichols back inside of the 10-yard line, and he's tackled inside the 5-yard line by Ryan Welch. Let's see where they're going to say his forward progress was. And it was at the 5-yard line, so the Mounties way back at the shadow of their own goalpost. 1st and 10 at their own 5-yard line after the boot by Christian Hiller.
Well, the first big break in the special teams for the Raiders here this afternoon, pinning MSJ down at their own 5, and already teams have opened up in fairly good field position, with the exception of Rutland, their first drive starting at their own 18. MSJ now takes over at their own 5.
No score, 2:58 remaining first quarter. Mounties break the huddle. Gragan over the football. Wide right. Rogers and also Scott Nichols. Canella the up back. Bombargi the deep back out of the eye. And the handoff goes to Bombargi. Nothing doing. Lost maybe a yard back to the 4-yard line. A few Raiders there to wrap him up. Sin was there, and Jim Hill and Mike Clark as well. Lost about a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 11 for the Mounties at their own 4-yard line. Wide right comes Rogers. Stevens is tight left. Wing left is Nichols. Canella and Bombargi behind Sean Keenan, the quarterback. Bombargi gets the call, sweeps it left, looking to turn the corner, does, but only for a couple out to the 6-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 9 for MSJ. Greg Trombley was over there on the tackle.
Trying to run the football out of deep territory on their own side is MSJ, and look for Keenan to try to get something established with Rogers here on 3rd and long.
3rd and 9 for the Mounties, their own 6-yard line. In motion now, Nichols left to right. Keenan on the handoff now to Bombargi, takes it right. A couple of tough yards out to about the 8-yard line. Bliss was there to wrap him up, so the Mounties will have to boot it away. 4th down and about 5. At their own 9 is where they mark it, and the Raiders should have pretty good field position here. No score, a minute 30 remaining in the first quarter at St. Peter's Field. Back to his own end zone to boot it away is Scott Nichols. with Carl and Welch back around the Mount Heath 40. Snap is a good one, and Nichols gets the boot away. And a sliding catch by Welch, his knee down at the Mount Heath 34. So the Raiders will go on the offense in good field position, 1st and 10 at the Mount Heath 34. As Ryan Welch came up and made a sliding catch like a center fielder makes. Those sliding catches you see every once in a while.
Well, there's your first reference to baseball, Jack, this afternoon. But Welch actually did a good heads-up thing that time because the ball was going end over end, and had it hit the ground, it probably would have taken a huge MSJ bounce that time. So Welch, being the heads-up player that he is, did the smart thing and got the football deep into Mountie territory.
Mike Abatell is the center. He's over the football. The Raiders operate out of the power I. Wide left is Randy Gagne. Jimmy and Agnes on the handoff to Sin off right tackle. Has some room as he cracks his way down to about the 30. John Johnson there to wrap him up. Popovich was over there as well.
And Rutland continues to go around the right side of their offensive line with Jeff Sin running the football. And again, he did such a good job against Mount Anthony. Why not go to him? He's one of the senior captains here for the Rutland Raiders. And he certainly is capable of having a big game here this afternoon.
Ball just outside the Mount Heath 30. It'll be 2nd and 6 for the Raiders at that point. Marker between the hash marks. Jimmy and Agnes barks him out. No score. We're in the first quarter. Agnes on the handoff to Sin, sweeps it right, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Jeff Sin, and the Raiders have drawn first blood. A 30-yard touchdown run for Jeff Sin. The Raiders lead at 6-0. That coming with 10 seconds left in the first quarter.
Well, again, they go around the right side of the football field following blocks from Bill Drew. And that seems to be the weakness in the Mountie defense here this afternoon, although they probably do some adjustments here and correct that as this game wears on. But Sin managed to get to the outside and went in untouched from 30 yards out. And Rutland goes on top, and we've got our first score of the 60th annual meeting. And Rutland's on top, 6-0.
Looked like he broke a couple of tackles at the line of scrimmage. As you mentioned, he took it to the outside, went down the sideline. 30-yard touchdown run for Jeff Sin. Rutland 6, MSJ nothing. 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and the Raiders will go for 2. Downey and Sin are the setbacks. Wing right is Kuchar, tight left is Hiller. And in motion now is Jacob Downey. And here's the pitch to Sin, sweeps it right, turns the corner, and he's in for the 2 points. And the Raiders lead it by a score of 8-0, back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout. The Raiders have drawn first blood in the 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game here at St. Peter's Field. 30-yard touchdown run for Jeff Sin. Jeff Sin on the 2 points. 8-0 Raiders, 10 seconds left in the first quarter.
Well, it was all Sin on that drive, that time for the Raiders. 2 plays it took them to get into the end zone. Sin on the first play of the drive, 4-yard gain. The second one, 30-yard touchdown. And then Sin converted following a big block from Matt Walterscheidt into the end zone for the 2-point conversion, giving the Raiders an 8-0 lead. And that drive started deep into Mountie territory for the first time in the first quarter. That was the key in establishing a touchdown for either squad. And we've already seen that MSJ is capable of moving the football. It was just the one turnover that did them in.
Here's the Hiller boot to either Hackett or Nichols is going to come up to oppose about a short man across the 25. Across the 30 and straight ahead across the 35 out to about the 37-yard line. Jeff Posebat on the return. Gary Colte on the stop. The Mounties trailing 8-0, have it 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. And that will be the final play of the first quarter as time runs down. So we have played a quarter in the 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game at St. Peter's Field. After a quarter, our score, Rutland 8, MSJ nothing. Back after this 30-second timeout. Huge crowd at St. Peter's Field as we get set for the second quarter. The Raiders lead at 8-0, scoring late in the first quarter on a 30-yard touchdown run by Jeff Sin, and Sin with a 2-point conversion as well.
Well, now the Mounties take over the football at their own 38-yard line, and we saw early on in this game the ability of the Mounties to move the football against this Rutland defense. Most notably, enjoying the most success for the Mounties was Sean Keenan throwing the ball downfield, converting a couple big first down plays for the Mounties, and the only thing that did them in their drive there that time was the fumble by Canella. If they're able to hold on to the football, we've seen that they can establish some sort of offensive attack here this afternoon.
So at the beginning of the second quarter, the Mounties have it 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. Keenan has Nichols in motion left to right. Sean Keenan back to throw, rolls right, looking, sets it up, still looking, fires and it goes incomplete. Intended for Matt Rogers up around the Mountie 45-yard line. Rogers covered by Rick Kuchar, was a little bit underthrown. And so it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Mounties at their own 38-yard line.
Well, that play was designed for Keenan to roll to his right and look back down the left side of the field to Stevens and Nichols going down the center of the field, and they were both covered deep, and then Rogers rolled right and stopped about 8 yards downfield, and Keenan just couldn't connect with him.
Cadello in the backfield behind Keenan, Bombargi and Nichols and Rogers trips left for MSJ. Keenan back to throw, rolls left, looking. Pumps once, fires downfield, it goes incomplete, as that was intended for Nichols at the 50-yard line. Tried to come up with a leaping catch and couldn't do it. And he might have been shaken up a little bit. He was well covered, almost came up with a great catch. It'll be 3rd and 10 for the Mounties at their own 38-yard line.
Well, Keenan has obviously got the arm strong enough to complete a pass like that, as there was probably 3 or 4 Raiders down there in coverage, and it takes a good quarterback with a lot of confidence and a strong arm to even attempt a pass like that, and we all know that Keenan certainly is capable of doing that.
Jason Reagan leads the club out of the huddle. He's over the football as Rogers and Nichols and Bombargi trips right. Canella's the lone setback. Stevens tight left. Eden on 3rd down. Back to throw. Looking. Sets it up. Fires! And it's complete to Nichols inside the Raider 45. He's down at the Raider 43. Nichols dropped by Jacob Downey. Perfectly thrown spiral from Keenan to Nichols, and it is a Mountie first down.
Well, there's that saying again for Sean Keenan. Throw it on a frozen rope, looking downfield to Nichols. Plenty of yardage for a first down. Another big gain for the Mounties. And if he can get his timing down, he can certainly be dangerous all afternoon for the Mounties.
19-yard pickup. Keenan on a pass completion and a first down. 1st and 10 for the Mounties at the Raider 43. And the Mounties want a timeout. Timeout on the field. We'll be back after this 30-second break. 11:39 left in the first half here at St. Peter's Field. It's Rutland 8 and MSJ nothing. MSJ has it 1st and 10 at the Raider 43-yard line. Going right to left here in the second quarter. The Raiders going left to right. The Raider touchdown, a 30-yard touchdown run by Jeff Sin. Jeff Sin on the 2 points as well.
There's a Mountie player down at the 40-yard line, lying on his back. We can't tell what the number is. I don't know if you can see it, Jack. At first I thought it was Keenan, because you look at the way the uniform fits the person. It looked like that could have been Keenan, but he's standing up talking to the official right now.
Still can't tell. I didn't see that.
It might have been Nichols, because after that play, before that long first down, he was bumped up, and then it was Nichols, because they went to him on that last play. He got the first down, and then he's really shaken up.
Yeah, he's going to be helped off the field. Scott Nichols. And hopefully he can come back into the football game. He appears to be pretty shaken up right now.
That's a big loss for the Mounties. Something may have happened to him on that pass play that Keenan tried to thread the needle to him, because he was hit as the ball was thrown to him. And they went to him the very next play. He gained 19 yards, and now he's being carried off the field.
So Hackett is in. He and Rogers are wide right. Canella the up back. Bombargi the deep back out of the eye. 1st and 10 Mounties at the Raider 43-yard line. And here's the deep handoff to Bombargi. Nothing doing. He's going to lose yardage outside the 45. A few Raiders there to hit him, led by Bill Drew.
And the Raiders able to penetrate the Mountie offensive line of scrimmage that time to cause some havoc into the backfield. And no gain on the play, probably a loss of 1, maybe 2.
Lost about 4, actually, or 3 we'll call it. It'll be 2nd and 13 for the Mounties at the Raider 46-yard line. Lost 3. Keenan back to throw on 2nd down. Pumps once, rolls left, looking. He's going to keep, and he's going to run out of bounds right around the Raider 47. That lost about a yard. It'll be 3rd and 14 for the Mounties. Run out of bounds by Drew, Walter, Scheid, and Abbatill.
Well, Keenan again coming to the left side of the football field, looking downfield, and good coverage deep down by the Raider defense, as they've noticed that Keenan is dangerous. Either way, he just decides to roll out of the pocket. Came to the left that time. Everybody was covered. He had to run out of bounds.
Get back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 13 for the Mounties. The Raider 46. Keenan back to throw. Rolls right. Tosses it. Incomplete. He wanted Bombargi coming out of the backfield. And he threw it incomplete. So it'll be 4th down and 13 for the Mounties at the Raider 46. And the Mounties will have to boot the football away. Raiders lead at 8-0 with 10:54 remaining in the first half.
Well, normally that would be Scott Nichols doing the punting for the Mounties, but he's still being worked on over here on the Mountie sideline, still lying on his back and really shaken up.
And let's see who'll be doing the voting here. Looks like Keenan back to boot to either Vaccaro or Welch back around the Raider 14. Keenan in his own 43, and he boots the football away, and not bad. Will bounce inside the 25, inside the 20, inside the 15, and finally pounced on by Frankie Vaccaro at the Raider 11 or 12-yard line or so. So the Raiders go on the offense. They lead it 8-0. We'll have it first and 10. We'll have it at the 12-yard line.
And once again, the Raiders take over deep in their own territory. The only time they had really good field position in the first quarter, they took it down 2 plays later, Sin with a 30-yard touchdown run. So field position has been the story so far this afternoon.
They mark it at the left side hash mark as Randy Gagne comes wide right. Pete Tomasi is in defensively for the Mounties. Couple of setbacks with Kuchar, a wing on the left side, and we have some movement. Did the Raiders move, or were the Mounties... Are they drawn offside, or are the Mounties offside here? Might add too, the center right now for the Raiders is Mark Barassa, 6'4", 180-pound junior. It is against MSJ for offside. So it'll be 1st and 5 for the Raiders at their own 17-yard line.
First penalty of the football game comes against the Mounties. And I think what may have happened is that Nagnus went to a hard count and drew the Mountie defensive lineman offsides, and they caused some contact on the line of scrimmage for the penalty.
McFerrin and Welch are the setbacks. Kuchar wing left, and Gagne's wide right as Nagnus barks him out. And the handoff goes straight ahead to Welch. Nothing much there. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a half-yard pickup. A bunch of Mounties there to meet him. Looked like Jay Stevens. Mike Popovich was there too. Got it out to the 19. So give them a pickup of 1, or maybe 2, and call it 2nd down and 4. Give them a pickup of 1. Call it the Raider 18. Wide right, Randy Gagne. Now the Raiders operate out of the power I setup. Deep back is Welch. McIntyre's in motion now, right to left, and Agnes back to throw on 2nd down. Throws, and it is intercepted by Babargi at the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and he's in for the touchdown. Kurt Babargi, 25-yard interception return for a touchdown, and the Mounties are on the board. The Raiders lead it 8-6.
Well, Babargi picked the pass off, ran it in 35 yards out, but somebody on the line of scrimmage for the, 25 yards, someone for the Mounties on the line of scrimmage knocked that ball down as Nagnus was looking downfield to Gagne, and someone from MSJ stuck their hand up, batted it down, and it went right into the hands of number 33, Kurt Babargi. He did the rest of the work, and boy, oh boy, what a big break for the Mounties.
25-yard interception return for a touchdown by Kurt Babargi. It's 8-6 Raiders now. You're right, that might have been tipped, went right into the hands of Babargi. And the Mounties going for the 2 points here to try to tie it. Keenan back to throw, rolls right, looking, fires into the end zone, complete to Matt Rogers for the 2 points, and that ties it up at 8-8. So that's your score. MSJ 8, Rutland 8, 9:30 left first half. Back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout.
There's a flag on the play.
Up a flag on the play. Hold on. Come back. Okay, we were a little bit premature. The pass was complete to Rogers for the 2 points, but the Mounties were called for holding on the play, so the score remains Rutland 8, MSJ 6. Certainly didn't see the flag before we took the break, but it's a holding penalty, and the Mounties have it back at the Raider 13, so they got to go for the 2 points again here. So it's 8-6 Raiders. Keenan back to throw. Rolls left, being pressured, tosses incomplete. He overthrows everybody, and he was well pressured by Jacob Downey. So the holding call on the Mounties negates what they had originally, the 2-point pass play from Keenan to Rogers. So the score remains now Rutland 8, MSJ 6. The try for the extra points no good, and we'll be back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout. Down by Kurt Babargi. The try for the extra points no good. The Mounties originally got the 2-point conversion to Matt Rogers, and the pass play from Keenan to Rogers, it was negated by the holding call. And And neither Vince or I saw that flag initially. We took the break and came right back in. Anderson, our engineer, right on the ball. We thank him very much. It might have been a late flag. I can't say for sure. I'm just saying that we certainly didn't see it initially.
Well, the story in this game has been turnovers. Rutland capitalized off the MSJ turnover in the first quarter, and MSJ turning it over, or excuse me, Rutland turning it over, and MSJ capitalized in the big penalty. It's 8-6 Rutland.
Keenan will do the booting. As back deep. Well, it's a line drive kick to Bergquist, and he takes it across the 40, and he's down at the Raider 43-yard line. Kyle Abel down there to drop him. I was going to say back deep, but well, it doesn't matter. It came up to an up man anyway. I know McIntyre and also Vaccaro were back deep, but it came up to an up man, Kyle Bergquist. And I think they said his knee was down. I thought so when he caught it. He caught it on one knee, so they're going to mark it back at the 37-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 37-yard line. The Raiders have the lead 8-6 with 9:20 remaining here in the first half. Mark it at the right side hash mark. Welch and Sin are the setbacks. Kuchar wing right, and the ends are tight. And the handoff to Sin straight ahead across the 40, and he dives his way across the 45 out to about the 47-yard line. Pickup of 10, Matt Rogers on the tackle. Should be a first down. It depends on where they mark it. It is a 10-yard pickup and a first down. 1st and 10 Raiders at their own 47.
Well, getting back to turnovers, Rutland did not capitalize off the MSJ fumble, although it did break the momentum offensively for the Mounties on that first drive. And MSJ obviously converted on that one turnover against Rutland. And the penalty was the big play so far in the first half, as that negated the 2-point conversion.
Welch and Sin, the setbacks behind Anagnos, and the handoff goes to Sin, and he gets it to about the 50-yard line. A whole bunch of Mounties there to drop him, led by Justin Canella, but he had a lot of help. Picked up about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 for Rutland High. Right around the 50-yard line.
And they continue to go to Jeff Sin offensively on 1st and 2nd down for the Raiders. He's got the lone touchdown for the Raiders here in the first half, and he continues to grind the ball out offensively for Rutland.
Now the Raiders in the double wing setup. The lone setback is McFerrin. Now the wing right. Sin is in motion right to left, and Agnes takes it left on the option. Breaking tackles to the Mountie 45, and finally down at that point. Matt Rogers there to drop him, and we got a penalty marker down. That one picked up about 5 yards as it was. We'll see what the penalty marker is all about as they mark it at the Mountie 46. And it's clipping against Rutland High. So that will negate that carry by Jimmy and Agnes.
Well, that play was designed as an option play to the left side of the field to Jeff Sin. And the Mounties did an excellent job of getting in the backfield and shutting that play down. And they forced Anagnos to roll out to his left and try to look upfield. And a big penalty against the Raiders coming up, clipping.
Raiders lead at 8-6 with 8:08 remaining in the first half here at St. Peter's Field. 15-yard penalty from the point of infraction against Rutland High. Mark it back into Raider territory inside the 40 at the Raider 39. We'll repeat 2nd down. It'll be 2nd and long. About 20. Well, 2nd and 17, we'll call it, for the Raiders at their own 39-yard line. The setbacks, Jimmy and Agnes barks him out. Kuchar in motion right to left. Pitch to Sin. Turns the corner at the 40, gets it out to about the 42-yard line. Eric Cavallari there on the tackle. We got a penalty marker down. Picked up about 3. Let's see what the penalty marker is all about. Let's see. Still no indication. The initial indication from the officials. Personal foul against Rutland High.
Looked like a lot of contact after the play was blown dead, and it could have been against a late hit penalty against Rutland. And the second big penalty on this drive already.
You don't see those offensively, but it is a 15-yard penalty. It is a dead ball foul, too, so it's 3rd down. They're going to mark it back at the Raider 27. Or are they going to repeat 2nd down? Wait a minute. I thought they were going to say 3rd down. All right, 2nd down.
3rd down, and Menden just about to go for the first down.
Now,
3rd down and 30.
I think there is some confusion as to what down it is. It was a dead ball foul. I think it's 3rd down. Yeah, they're going to move the stick now to 3rd down. 3rd and 30. There we go.
I like Menden better, third down in Menden. That sounds a lot more dramatic than third and 30.
It is 3rd and 30 for the Raiders at their own 27-yard line. A couple of big penalties against the Raiders back-to-back. McIntyre in motion right to left. Magnus back to throw on 3rd and long. Steps up, being pressured, steps up again, looking, takes it left, still looking, and he avoids one man, gets it across the 35 and run out of bounds right around the Raider 36. So he picked up 9, but it'll be 4th and long for the Raiders. They'll have to boot it away.
Well, so far there's been a turnover for each team, but the most important part of this first half has been penalties. The holding penalty against the Mounties on the 2-point conversion erased that to keep Rutland on top 8-6, and then 2 back-to-back big penalties against Rutland here, and now MSJ will get the football back.
Joe Lorman as the Mounties playing without the services of the injured Scott Nichols. Lorman and Hackett back deep for the Mounties. Back around the Mountie 35. Hiller back around the Raider 22 to boot it away. And it's a line drive. It'll hit outside the 40. And then take a Mountie roll as it went left parallel to the 40 and blown dead there. The Mounties get pretty good field position here. 1st and 10 at their own 42-yard line. 7:23 remaining first half at St. Peter's Field. And it's Rutland 8 and MSJ 6. The Raider touchdown, a 30-yard touchdown run by Jeff Sin in the first quarter. Sin for the 2 points. The Mountie touchdown, a 25-yard interception return for a touchdown by Kurt Bombargi. The try for the extra points, no good. Wide left, both Hackett and Rogers. Canella the up back, Bombargi the deep back, out of the eye for the Mounties. Keenan on the handoff to Bombargi, takes it left and is wrapped up. At the 43, Mike Clark there on the tackle. Picked up about a yard. It will be 2nd and 9 for MSJ at their own 43-yard line.
And a good sign for Mountie fans. Scott Nichols is up and moving around under his own power on the MSJ sideline. And certainly they'd love to see him back into this game.
Rogers and Hackett wide right. Canella and Bombargi the setback. Stevens tied left. Keenan back to throw on 2nd down. Rolls right, looking, fires right, and it goes incomplete. He had Hackett at the 50-yard line. He couldn't hang on at the 50.
Only had 2 places to go with that pass as Rogers was closer towards the center of the field, and he was wide open, and he had his hands up, and he was facing Keenan as he rolled right, and Keenan opted to the first option, which was Hackett, and Hackett just couldn't quite gather the football in, and now Scott Nichols is returning to the MSJ lineup.
So good news for Mountie fans as Scott Nichols back into the football game. 3rd down and 9 for MSJ at their own 43-yard line. MSJ wants a timeout. 6:43 remaining first half here at St. Peter's Field. Our score, Rutland 8, MSJ 6. Back after this 30-second timeout. 3rd and 9 for MSJ at their own 43-yard line. The Raiders lead the Mounties by a score of 8-6 with 6:43 left in the first half. Rogers wide right, Hackett wide right as well. Canella and Bombargi will be behind the junior quarterback Sean Keenan. Tight left is Jay Stevens. Keenan back to throw. Rolls right, looking, still looking. Throws downfield, and it is complete by Hackett inside the 35. He's down at the Raider 32-yard line. Dropped by Brian Penny. Hackett, who couldn't hang on before when it was right in the numbers, made a nice spinning catch on that one. 1st and 10 Mounties at the Raider 33-yard line.
Great catch,
24-yard pickup.
Great catch by Hackett, but what a gorgeous throw that time by Sean Keenan.
Double the setbacks behind Keenan. Back to throw, Sean Keenan on 1st down. Looking, fires, and it is complete to Rogers at the Raider 20-yard line. He was tackled immediately by Rick Kuchar. 13-yard pickup. Downey was down there as well.
I tell you, we are seeing a quarterback exhibition here in the first half by MSJ, Sean Keenan. A nice touch pass to play before, and then he throws another bullet to Matt Rogers for 2 first downs back-to-back for the Mounties.
1st and 10 for the Mounties, the Raider 20, wide left Rogers. Lorman is in, a wing right, and the Mounties want a timeout, so we got another timeout on the field. As Nichols on the sideline, he's going to trot back in right now. Timeout on the field, our score, Raiders 8, Mounties 6. 6:22 left first half. Back after this 30-second timeout. It's 1st and 10 Mounties. Back-to-back pass completions by Sean Keenan. The Mounties have it just inside the Raider 20. Raiders lead it by a score of 8-6 with 6:22 left in the first half. And I tell you, John Hackett, who hung in there a couple of completions ago, made a nice catch after dropping one at the 50-yard line. Wing left is Nichols. Wing right, Lorman. Bombargi in the backfield behind Keenan. Wide left is Rogers. In motion now is Nichols left to right. Here's the pitch to Nichols. Sweeps it right, looking to turn the corner. Cuts it to the outside and turns the corner for a couple down to the Raider 18. Brian Pinney there on the stop for Rutland High.
Good job of blocking around the right side of the field that time by number 33, Kurt Bombargi for MSJ. And that's the way they like to run the football, do the Mounties, is try to get Nichols to bounce out to the outside and follow his lead blocking. And doing an excellent job this afternoon is the Mountie down lineman, giving Keenan enough time to roll to either his right or his left and look downfield. And they're doing a good job of controlling the line of scrimmage here in the first half.
The market at the Raiders 17. 2nd and 8 for the Mounties at that point. And here's the pitch now to Nichols. Sweeps it left, and he's tripped up as he gets it to the 16. Pickup of about a yard. Frankie Vaccaro there on the tackle. It looked like maybe Nichols got tangled up with one of his own players on that, too. It'll be 3rd down for the Mounties. The Raiders 16. 3rd down and about 7. 5:20 left first half. The Raiders lead the Mounties by a score of 8-6. Lone setback is Nichols. Keenan back to throw, play action, rolls right, fires right. It is complete to Bombargi at the 15. He's tackled immediately. We got a penalty marker down. Hold the phone. That only ended up picking up a yard on the pass completion from Keenan to Bombargi. And we'll see what the penalty marker's all about here. Apparently it's against the Raiders. But it's against the Mounties. That's what I thought from the... Unless there were 2 penalty markers, let's see. There's one on the near side, one on the far side. The Mounties thought it was against the Raiders, but the preliminary indication is holding against MSJ. Certainly the indication from the players was, or from the Mountie players, it went the other way, unless there's more than one penalty. They have not indicated that there is more than one. Yeah, well, face mask against Rutland and holding against MSJ, no play. I thought there might be more than one.
And once again, Jack Healey is right. And
I don't know.
The officials looked up to the booth to see what Jack thought.
It was my 20. Believe me, it was my 21st guess. 3rd down and close to 7 for the Mounties at the Raiders' 16-yard line. So the play has negated the offsetting penalties. Mark it near the left side hash mark. Rogers is wide right. Here's the pitch now to Nichols, sweeps it left to the 15, and he cuts it inside down at the 10-yard line. A pickup of 6. He needed a long 6, close to 7. Kuchar on the tackle, and let's see. That's enough for a first down. It's awfully close. They have it toward the near sideline. The sticks on the far sideline. Needed a long 6, picked up about 6. A Raider has been shaken up. It looks like, I believe, Rick Kuchar made the tackle.
Looking at one of his legs, his right ankle. Looks as though when that play concluded, he may have rolled his right ankle, but he did make the tackle on that last play for the Raiders.
And I don't know if they're going to call for a measurement here or not. I know they couldn't with the... They did move the football. The stick has it 4th down, less than a yard for the Mounties at the Raider 10-yard line.
Well, now it's decision time for Coach Grady. It is just short of a first down. 4th and...
couple of inches
even deep into Raider territory. And what do you do now? Do you go for the 3 and go ahead, or you try to go for it and pin Rutland down should you not get the first down, because Rutland does get the football back to start the second half, as there's 4:59 remaining here in the second quarter. So big decision time for Coach Brian Grady and the Mounties.
Rick Kuchar is limping a little bit, but he's going off the field under his own power, and hopefully Rick will be back, and it looks like he will be. 4th down, less than a yard for the Mounties at the Raider 10. The Raiders 8, MSJ 6 with 4:59 remaining in the first half here at St. Peter's Field.
Well, that's one thing you don't want to see if you're a Raider fan, is the injured Raiders. They've got to go to Middlebury next weekend for the playoffs.
Rogers wide left, slot left is Nichols. Barchi and Canella in the backfield. Out of the eye behind Keenan. Nichols in motion left to right. And the handoff to Canella. There wasn't much there, but then he managed to pick up maybe a yard or so down to the 8. It looked like he was stopped initially and then kept the legs churning, and it appears that he picked up the first down. Yes, he did. He picked up actually close to 2. 1st and goal, MSJ at the Raider 8.
gutsy call that time by Coach Grady. Tried to send it right up the middle with Justin Cannella, because the Rutland defensive line has a size advantage here this afternoon against the Mounties. But that time he was met right at the line of scrimmage, and Cannella's second effort got the first down for the Mounties.
First and goal, MSJ at the Rutland 8. Wide left, Rogers. Wide right, Nichols. Couple of setbacks behind Keenan. Back to throw. Looking. Throws toward the end zone, goes incomplete. He overthrows everybody. Ed Nichols and Stevens and Rogers in the end zone. I think he threw that one away. It's second and goal for MSJ at the Raider 8.
Well, he was definitely going to be taken for a sack on the play and would have lost about 10 yards. So Keenan doing the smart thing there, just throwing the football out of the end zone, out of danger, and take the next play.
Clock stops with 4:33 left in the first half. Rutland 8, MSJ 6. MSJ has it second and goal at the Raider 8. Wide left, Rogers. Nichols the lone setback. In motion now, Cannella. Nichols gets the call straight ahead. He's hit and picks up a couple down to the 6. Jim Hill was there to hit him, and Mike Clark was over there as well. It'll be third and goal for the Mounties at the Raiders 6.
Well, since MSJ got that first down, now they're pretty much in control here offensively. Should they not get the first down, at least they can come away from this long drive with 3 points.
Rogers and also Nichols wide left. Cannella, the lone setback. Keenan back to throw on third and goal. Rolls left, looking. Fires toward the end zone. It goes incomplete, and it was knocked away by Jeff McFerrin. Stevens and Nichols were in the end zone. McFerrin came over to knock it away. It'll be fourth and goal for the Mounties at the Raiders 6, and we'll see if the Mounties do indeed try the field goal. I believe they will, as Scott Nichols has the kicking tee.
Well, pretty impressive drive that time by the Mounties. It started back at their own 41 at the 7:23 mark. There's now 3:58 showing. 11 plays was the drive, and they're going to go for a field goal here, and they managed to pick up 3 first downs along the way.
And the Mounties call for the timeout. We got a timeout on the field. 8-6 Raiders, 3:58 remaining in the first half. We'll be back after this 30-second break. Backyard St. Peter's Field, 3:58 left in the first half. It's 8-6 Rutland, and the Mounties have it fourth and goal at the Raiders 6. They're going to try for a field goal. It'll be a slight angle off to the left, but more or less straight on. Scott Nichols will attempt it. We'll see where they mark it down. The line of scrimmage again is the 6. And they break the huddle. Nichols will mark it down at the Raider 13. It'll be a 23-yard attempt. Lorman is the holder. And the snap is down. The kick by Nichols is up, and the kick is good. A 23-yard field goal by Scott Nichols, and MSJ takes the lead. It's MSJ 9 and Rutland 8 with 3:54 remaining in the first half. We'll be back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout. And it's MSJ 9 and Rutland 8 with 3:54 left here in the first half here, the 60th MSJ Rutland football game at St. Peter's Field.
Well, we've heard it and talked about it all week long. Throw the records right out the window, and right now the Mounties certainly have the momentum, and due in part to penalties and turnovers against the Raiders, and that's pretty much done them in all year long. And the one penalty and turnover-free game that they had most recently, they came out on top with a big win over Mount Anthony of a week ago. So that seems to be the story here in the first half, Jack.
McIntyre and Vaccaro back deep for the Raiders to receive the Scott Nichols boot after the field goal. And the kick will send McIntyre back to the 14-yard line. Takes it straight ahead across the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and he's finally down by Scott Nichols at the Mountie 47-yard line. Great return by Ryan McIntyre, and the Raiders needed that return, and McIntyre gave it to him.
Well, how important has the return of Scott Nichols been for MSJ? He just kicked the field goal, kicked a long kickoff, and then made a touchdown-saving tackle for the Mounties. And now the Raiders get exactly what they were looking for, a big play off the kickoff, and now they're back in business on the MSJ side of the 50-yard line.
So the Raiders have it first and 10 at the Mountie 47-yard line. Jimmy and Agnes on the pitch now to Welsh, sweeps it right, has some room to the 45, 40, to the 35, and he's down at the Mountie 31-yard line by Matt Rogers. Justin Cannella was downfield as well.
Welch with the big game, but give a lot of that credit on that run to Randy Gagne, number 42, and number 54 for Rutland, Matt Walterscheit. Gagne threw a block in the backfield, and Walterscheid threw a block downfield, and that freed Welch to get to the outside of the football field in a big play on first down for the Raiders.
Picked up 16, 1st and 10 Raiders at the Mayhew 31-yard line. Gagne's wide left, and Agnes on the handoff to Sin. Sweeps it left, turns the corner, 25-20, and he's down at the 15-yard line. A 16-yard pickup for Jeff Sin. So the Mounties shocking the Raiders by going up 9-8. The Raiders coming right back down the field as Jay Stevens made the tackle. Here's at the Mayhew 15. 3:18 left here in the first half. MSJ 9 and Rutland 8.
Another big play for Jeff Sin, one of the senior captains for Rutland. And again, getting good blocking at the line of scrimmage, most notably by number 56, Jim Hill for Rutland.
Healey has been in on this series. He's a wing right. And Agnes on the handoff to McFerrin off left tackle. He picks up a quick 5 as he gets it down to the 10-yard line. Justin Canella on the stop. It'll be 2nd and 5. Jeff McFerrin on the carry. The Raiders have it at the Mountie 10.
So we've seen the Rutland defense with their backs against the wall a few times here in the first half. Let's see how the Mounties respond in the same position.
McFerrin and Welch are the setbacks. Healey is a wing right. In motion now is Beerley, right to left. Inside handoff, it goes to Welch to the 5, and he's down virtually at the goal line. Almost took it in. Scott Nichols on the tackle. And it is a Raider first down, 1st and goal at the Mountie 1. As that picked up about 9 yards, and Welch almost took it in.
Well, had Nichols not reached back and stuck his arm out to trip up Welch, he was in for 6 for the Raiders. And just like that, the momentum is back over on favoring Rutland right now on this drive.
2:20 remaining in the first half. 1st and goal Raiders, the Mountie 1. Our setup for the Raiders. Handoff to Sin, puts his head down, and he cracks in. Touchdown, but there's a penalty marker down. We'll wait and see. Sin has the 1-yard touchdown run, but a penalty marker down. We'll see what the call is. That would give the Raiders the lead again, but we'll see. Illegal motion against Rutland High, so negate the touchdown, and the Raiders will have it 1st and goal at the Mountie 6.
There's that word again, penalty against Rutland. It seems as though Rutland always gets a good drive going, and then they either turn the football over or come up with a big penalty like that, and that seems to turn the tide against the Raiders.
Downey and Sin are the setbacks. Gagne's wide right. Kuchar is a wing left. 2:13 remaining in the first half. 1st and goal for the Raiders, the Mountie 6. Anagnos on the handoff to Sin. Sweeps it left. Toward the corner he goes. He's in. Touchdown. Jeff Sin on the touchdown, a 6-yard touchdown run, and Rutland retakes the lead. It is Rutland now leading it by a score of 14-9. Jeff Sin with his 2nd touchdown of the football game.
And once again, on his first touchdown run, he followed number 52, Bill Drew, into the end zone. This time he did it again. Drew doing a nice job of clearing up some huge openings for Jeff Sin. That's his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And I give a lot of that credit to Bill Drew, number 52 for the Raiders.
Coming with 2:09 left in the first half. And the Raiders will try to go for the 2 points again here. Bliss is in tight right. Downey and Welch are the setbacks. Couple of wideouts left. Pitch to Welch. Sweeps it left and cuts it against the grain. And he squeezes in for the 2 points. Welch on the 2-point rush. And Rutland now leads it by a score of 16-9. That's your score with 2:09 remaining here in the first half. Rutland 16, MSJ 9. Back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout. Who found themselves trailing 9-8 came right back up the field. A great kickoff return by McIntyre from his own 14 out to the Mountie 47, if I remember correctly.
Well, just like that, MSJ looked like they were starting to take control of this football game. Rutland responds with it, and most notably, the biggest play of that drive was the big kickoff return by Ryan McIntyre. Gave Rutland the football in the MSJ 47. 5 plays later, 47 yards later, Jeff Sin takes it in from 6 yards out for his 2nd touchdown, and he also had the biggest play of that drive after the McIntyre kickoff return. A big gain for Jeff Sin, and he's doing it once again here for the Raiders this afternoon.
And Welch for the 2 points, so the Raiders lead it by a score of 16-9 with 2:09 left in the first half. Well, the High Field hockey team winning the Division I state title today, 1-0 over Spalding, and would venture to guess that is the field hockey team off to our left here beyond the end zone. Hiller's boot to Nichols at the 12-yard line. Takes it left, being chased, retreats inside the 10, avoids one man, and he's finally dropped at the 11-yard line by Ryan Welch, who got down there to drop him, so the Mounties will have it 1st and 10 at their own 11-yard line.
Welch getting credit for the tackle, but credit number 89, Kyle Berquist for Rutland, beating everybody downfield and pressuring Nichols further back down the field for the Mounties, and Welch wrapped him up, and right now the Raiders are definitely fired up.
We'll repeat, Kyle Berquist celebrating his 17th birthday today. 1st and 10 for the Mounties at their own 11-yard line. In motion, Rogers. Handoff goes to Bombardier straight ahead. Back to the line of scrimmage he gets. He's dropped at the line of scrimmage by Mike Clark. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Mounties at their own 11. I believe the Mounties are out of timeouts.
Important thing for the Mounties to do now is just run the clock out. That deep in their own territory, do not turn the football over and go into halftime trailing 16-9.
They are lining it up without huddle down. Minute 30 left in the half. Hand off to Bombardier, and he takes it out across the 15, dropped at about the 16-yard line. Bill Drew there to drop him. Picked up 5. It'll be 3rd and 5 for MSJ at their own 16.
Well, here's a big play now for the Mounties. If they don't get a first down, they may have to give the football back to Rutland, and Rutland does have a few timeouts left, and Rutland gets the football back to start the second half as well.
Canella the up back, and Bombardier the deep back out of the eye. Nichols and Rogers wide left, and now in motion, Nichols left to right. Less than a minute remaining in the first half. Handoff to Bombardier, and he took it right, then against the grain, back to the line of scrimmage, and he's dropped there. And Rutland, indeed, you called it, Vince. The Raiders call for the timeout, because the Mounties will be faced with a 4th down and a long 5. So we got a timeout on the field with 51 seconds remaining in the half. It's 16-9. Rutland will be back after this 30-second break. The Mounties have it 4th down and a long 5 at their own 16-yard line. We have 51 seconds remaining in the first half here at St. Peter's Field. It is Rutland High 16 and MSJ 9. And Nichols back to boot inside his own 5. Ryan Welch will be back in single safety for Rutland High, right around the Mountie 45-yard line or so. And the snap is a good one. And Nichols gets the boot away, and it's a good one. It goes to Welch at the Mountie 44, looking for room, and he is hit by Bartlett at the Mountie 40, and we have penalty markers down. Well, the Raiders will have pretty good field position here with 42 seconds left in the half, and we'll see what the penalty marker is all about. If that goes against the Mounties, the Raider field position will be even better. And we'll see what the indication is. Face mask against MSJ. And so that is a 15-yard penalty, and from the point of infraction, it'll be down around the 25-yard line or so.
And Rutland does have a couple timeouts to their credit right now, so they can possibly add to this 7-point lead that they've got right now going into halftime. And again, they will get the football back to start the second half. So
that's right. They deferred the choice at the beginning of the ball game, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Raiders of the Mountie 25. So the Raiders are leading this ball game 16-9. They have an opportunity for more here with 42 seconds left in the first half. Gagne's wide left. They got a wing left. Jamian Agnes barks him out for Rutland High. Handoff to Sin, sweeps it left, turns the corner for a couple, gets it to about the 22. A pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Stevens on the tackle for MSJ.
Boy, someone must have really gave a nice pep talk to number 52, Bill Drew, as he cleared around the left side of the field, again trying to clear a hole for Sin, and he was just looking for someone to hit.
Clock running, 15 seconds remaining in the half. Gagne wide right, Beerley is a wing right. Sin and Downey are the setbacks behind Anagnos. Handoff to Sin on the option. Sin's going to throw downfield. Wants Gagne. Gagne leaping catch. He's down at the 1-yard line. And Randy Gagne immediately calls for a timeout. Jeff Sin on the 21-yard pass play to Randy Gagne. He made a leaping catch, called timeout with a second left. Or I should say at the 1-yard line with 4 seconds left in the half. So the Raiders have it 1st and goal at the Mountie 1-yard line. 4 seconds left in the first half. Well, now the Raiders, of course, are going to discuss this one.
Day before Halloween, Jack, there's the first trick of the afternoon. Option play to Sin, and he rolled out to the right side and threw it to what is normally Anagnos' favorite target, Randy Gagne. Heads-up play on both parts. First of all, Gagne gaining grabbing the reception that time, and as soon as he landed, calling a quick heads-up timeout. And now Rutland back in business there at the 1-yard line with 4 seconds left and looking to add to that lead.
It was a great leaping catch by Randy Gagne off the pass on the option from Jeff Sin. So it will be first and goal for the Raiders at the Mountie 1 with 4 seconds left in the half. And let's see, they're going to try to... For a couple of weeks now, the Raiders have been going for 2 points for the most part after touchdowns. They were successful after both their touchdowns today. Christian Hiller is the booter. He's into the football game. But he is not going to be in as a kicker. He'll be in as a tight end. First and goal for the Raiders, the Mountie 1. Downey and Sin of the setbacks behind Jimmy and Agnes. Handoff to Downey, straight ahead. He ducks underneath, and he's in for the touchdown. A 1-yard touchdown plunge by Jacob Downey as time expires, ending the first half, and the Raiders lead it now by a score of 22-9. And that is certainly a big play in this football game, as it gives the Raiders a relatively comfortable lead at halftime.
Well, that's exactly what I had spoken of. If looking back to that last MSJ possession, had they gotten a first down, they probably would have run the clock out to end the first half, but they couldn't convert on 3rd down, and now Rutland certainly does that here, looking to add to that lead again.
And they look for the 2 points now as Beerley's in motion. The Mountie has jumped offside. They're going to say, though, however, that the Raiders were drawing the Mounties offside, illegal procedure against Rutland, so they'll try it again from the 8-yard line here. So the Mounties jumped, but they were drawn offside by the Raiders, who are called for the illegal procedure. So the Raiders will try for the 2 points from the Mountie 8-yard line. No time left, first half. 22-9 Rutland. Gagne goes wide left. Beerley is a wing right. Welch and Downey are the setbacks. Beerley in motion now right to left. Jimmy and Agnes breaks him out. And Agnes play action, back to throw, looking, being chased. He's hit and he's down. Sass was there to drop him. And so the try for the extra points, no good. We are at halftime in the 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game at St. Peter's Field. At halftime, our score, Rutland 22, MSJ 9. We'll be back after this 2-minute timeout.
Center and the show. They are on sale at the game. Will be at the first day party at Grove 6 and also at the Academy on Monday.
Jack Healey back with Vince Allo, our engineer, Ed Anderson. We're at St. Peter's Field, and we are at halftime of the 60th annual MSJ Rutland football game. This game today, taped for a telecast on Channel 15 at a later date, or maybe later today, or later tonight. Are you going to put it on after that compost show? Or whatever. When's that? I can't wait till that next show, I'll tell you that. Or is it going to be the, never mind.
Well, if you play it tomorrow night, be sure to check.
We have come to visit you in peace and with goodwill. And with the arrival of
Good idea.
To 9. Sin again with a 6-yard touchdown run. Ryan Welch took it over for the 2 points to put the Raiders up by a score of 16 to 9. Then the Mounties got the football back, couldn't move it. They were out of timeouts, and they had to boot the football away. The Raiders got excellent field position and a big 21-yard pass play from Jeff Sin on the option to Randy Gagne. Made a nice leaping catch, gave the Raiders a 1st and goal at the Mountie 1. And Jacob Downey with 4 seconds, the clock showed 4 seconds after the Raiders had called the timeout at the Mountie 1. Jacob Downey took it over from a yard out for the Raider touchdown to put the Raiders up 22 to 9 as time expired. The try for the extra.
Wait a minute, you better talk to my mother.
Touchdown. The captains are meeting again at midfield as we get set for the second half, and Rutland High leading MSJ by a score of 22 to 9. And remember, the Raiders won the toss at the beginning of the game, deferred the choice to the second half, so they'll be receiving the second half kickoff here. Huge crowd at St. Peter's Field as they're lined up around the field here. And that is the site we get at St. Peter's Field. We don't quite get that site at Alumni Field. Had that site certainly when the MSJ Rutland game was played at Flights Field, where people were lined up on both sides and around and through the end zones, the back end of the end zones and so forth.
You know, we're actually part of the action here, right in the middle of the crowd. I like that.
Very quickly recapping, the Raiders got on the board first with 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 30-yard touchdown run for Jeff Sin. Sin for the 2 points to put the Raiders up 8-0. In the second quarter, 25-yard interception return for a touchdown by Kurt Bombargi. Cut the Raider lead to 8-6. The try for the extra points no good. And later in the second quarter, a 23-yard field goal by MSJ Scott Nichols put the Mounties up 9-8. The Raiders came right back, a 6-yard touchdown run by Jeff Sin. So the Raiders went up 14-9. Welch for the 2 points to make it 16-9 Raiders. And then with no time left, a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Jacob Downey to put the Raiders up 22-9. The try for the extra points no good. And that is where we stand right now. Rutland 22 and MSJ 9 as we get set for the second half kickoff. And again, the Raiders will get the second half kickoff here at St. Peter's Field. For the Raiders, they go on next week, Friday night in the semis against Middlebury. And we'll be on the air either at 6:45 or 7:15. I'm not sure as to a lot of times in the postseason they move games back a half hour. So
Well, as the temperature appears as though it dropped just a little bit here as the get ready to start the second half. What I have in my hand is one of 4 WSYB and Sensible Shoe bun warmers. If we've got 2 for MSJ fans and 2 for Rutland fans up here in the booth with us. If anybody would like to come by and pick up a WSYB and Sensible Shoe bun warmer, it's right up here. Just come on up and ask for it. Again, I've got 2 for Rutland and 2 for MSJ. So those that would like one, come on up and get it.
Most of the Raider fans are across the way. They got a long walk here. Joe Corsel's got one. He's right in front of us. And we also have another winner here. Okay, well, we got 3 all of a sudden. The Raiders will be going left to right here in the third quarter. The Mounties will be going right to left. The Raiders will receive the Scott Nichols boot, Ryan Welch, and also Ryan McIntyre back deep for Rutland High. It was McIntyre that had that 39-yard kickoff return that set up that go-ahead touchdown for the Raiders. After the Mounties had taken a 9-8 lead.
I still have 2 bun warmers left for Rutland fans.
And here's the kick by Nichols. Line drive. McIntyre had it and dropped it. Picks it up at the 12, across the 15. Looking for room, 20, and he gets it to about the 26-yard line. Joe Lorman drops him, and so the Raiders will go on the offense. 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line. First series so very important at the beginning of the ball game, certainly at the beginning of the second half as well. A Raider touchdown here, and they're in pretty good shape. The Mounties, to make a game of it, certainly have to turn the Raiders away. Well, 1st and 10 for the Raiders, their own 26, going left to right here in the third quarter. Beerley is a wing left. McFerrin and Welch are the setbacks behind the senior quarterback Jimmy Anagnos as Beerley's in motion left to right. Inside handoff to Welch, breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage and squirts out to the 30-yard line before he's dropped. Justin Canella there on the stop, and he picked up 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. They're going to mark it at the 31, give him 5. And call it 2nd and 5 for Rutland High, first series of the second half.
Well, that's definitely what you want to get on a first down play is 3 to 5 yards, if not more, but that certainly sets things up as this game wears on for Rutland.
Randy Gagne back in. Brent Bliss is out for Rutland High, and Randy is wide right. Again, Beerley is a wing right. 2nd and 5 for Nagnes and company. Pitch to Welch. He's hit. And penalty markers down. Breaking tackles. Gets across the 35-40 and run out of bounds near sideline at the Raider 44-yard line. It picked up about 13. Justin Canella ran him out near sideline. We'll see what the penalty marker's all about. That would be a Raider first down, but the Raiders, I believe, are going to be called for a clipping penalty here, so negate that run by Welch.
Well, Bombardier was hit from behind in the backfield for MSJ. Didn't quite get the number of who the penalty was against for Rutland, but they threw that penalty right at the spot of the block, and big break for the Mounties. And again, a costly penalty against the Raiders.
So they'll repeat 2nd down from the point of infraction. We'll see where they mark it. Early going third quarter. It's Rutland 22 and MSJ 9. They're going to mark it back to the Raider 16-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and 22 for the Raiders at their own 16-yard line. Mike Abbatelli is the center. He's over the football. Randy Gagne wide left. Christian Hiller is tight right. Welch is a wing left. And McFerrin, the lone setback behind Jimmy Anagnos. They also have a wing on the right side. Anagnos back to throw on 2nd and long. Steps up, throws right. It goes incomplete. Intended for Jason Beerley near sideline at the Raider 25. Beerley covered well by Scott Nichols. So it'll be 3rd and 22 for the Raiders at their own 16-yard line.
Good downfield coverage by the Mounties by Nichols, as well as good backfield pressure being put on to quarterback Jim Anagnos from Rutland by just about the entire defensive line of the Mounties.
Mark it near the right side hash mark. And as Beerley comes out, it's like Jeff Sin into the football game now for Rutland High. And Randy Gagne goes wide left. Hiller will be tight right. Welch a wing on the right. McFerrin and Sin are the setbacks behind Jimmy Anagnos. And the double reverse. Sin to Welch. He has some room. 20. 25, and finally dropped at the Raider 27-yard line as he picks up about 12 back to the original line of scrimmage before the penalty. Justin Canella on the tackle for MSJ. Actually picked up about 10 on that. So it'll be 4th and 10 for the Raiders at their own 26-yard line, back to the original line of scrimmage. So before the play was closer to being 3rd and 20 rather than 3rd and 22. So the Raiders will have to boot it away.
Definitely enough for a first down had they not been whistled with that clipping penalty on the second play of the drive. So once again, penalties playing a big part of the Rutland offensive scheme here this afternoon.
Hiller back to boot from his own 12. Nichols and Hackett back to the Mountie 40. Snap a good one. And Hiller gets the boot away. And this will go to Nichols at the Mountie 39. Drops it, picks it up again. Looking for room, and he's dropped at the Mountie 38-yard line. Welch and McFerrin get down there to make the tackle. So the Mounties, who held the Raiders on the first series of the second half, have a relatively good field position. 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line.
Well, now the Mounties take over the football, like you said, Jack. Somewhat good field position. And the important thing for them is to just get a drive established and try to get something onto the scoreboard to start this second half, as they're down 22-9.
9:58 left, third quarter. Rogers wide left. Mounties operate out of the I. Hand off to Canella, the up back straight ahead, and he backs his way across the 40 to about the Mountie 41. Mike Clark on the stop for Rutland High, pickup of 3. And the Mounties will be faced with a 2nd and 7. Rutland has a 22-9 lead with 9:36 remaining in the third quarter. Wide right go Rogers and Nichols. Also wide right is Bombargi. Back to throw, Sean Keenan, junior quarterback, rolls right, pumps once, throws, and it goes incomplete. Intended for Bombargi up around the Mountie 47-yard line. Bombargi hadn't quite turned around yet when the throw came his way, and he had really turned around inside rather than outside. So the Mounties are faced with a 3rd and 7 at their own 41-yard line. So Norman comes trotting into the football game for Bombargi for MSJ.
Looks as though Bombargi was supposed to roll over his left shoulder. He rolled over his right. And Keenan, he got good blocking from Canella, but just couldn't get the completion.
Trips right with Nichols, Rogers, and Lorman. Back to throw, Sean Keenan. Rolls right, being chased. And he throws incomplete, intended for Nichols down around the Raider 45-yard line as the pass went out of bounds. And so the Mounties will have to boot it away as the Raider defensive unit holds in the first series for MSJ in the second half. Well, he's faced with a 4th and 7.
Well, really, that was the only thing that Keenan could do, was throw the ball away, as Abatel and Walterscheit were ready to knock him down. So he did the smart thing and just threw the ball out of bounds and came out unhurt after that play.
Nichols back to boot for the Mounties around the Mountie 27. Sin and Vaccaro back deep for the Raiders around the Raider 30. Snap a little low, but Nichols digs it out. Line drive boot. He will hit at the 35, inside the 30, inside the 25, inside the 20, still rolling, and finally blown dead at the Raiders 16-yard line. So nice boot by Scott Nichols, and he got the roll. And now the Raiders again go on the offense. 1st and 10 at their own 16-yard line. 9:02 left, third quarter. And Rutland has a 22-9 lead. Looks like Barrasso will be back in at center for Rutland High. Barrasso and Abatel both see action at center. Wide left, Gagne. Sin is in the backfield along with Jeff McFerrin. Barely back in, a wing left. Jimmy Anagdas has gone all the way at quarterback as he barks him out. And the handoff to Sin, sweeps it left, cuts it against the grain, gets it out across the 25 to about the 26. Pickup of close to 10 before he's dropped by Jay Stevens. See where they mark it, awfully close to first down yardage on the carry by Jeff Sin.
And again, Sin, the go-to guy around the left side of the football field that time. Very close to a first down, although you look at the marker across the field, it looks like now they bring it closer to a first down yardage.
Well, they're going to call for a measurement here.
The chain gang, as Jack likes to call them.
And we'll see. Inches shy. And so it'll be 2nd and inches for the Raiders at their own 26-yard line.
And again, Jeff Sin continues to run the ball very effectively for Rutland. His 2nd game in a row, thinking back to the last week.
Yeah, he's really starting to get it together for the Raiders.
And I think it all comes from that substitution, or the positioning that they moved him in the backfield back to his comfortable position. And he's run the ball very effectively ever since that adjustment by Coach Beerwood.
Exactly. Jacob Downey is in. Along with Sin in the backfield, Beerley is a wing left, 2nd and inches. And Downey on short yardage takes it straight ahead. First down and more, a couple of yards out to about the 28. David Paul on the tackle for MSJ.
Carried by Downey.
So it's 1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 28-yard line. A pickup of 2. They only needed inches. McIntyre back into the football game for Rutland High, and Beerley is out. 8:24 left third quarter. It's Rutland 22 and MSJ 9. Now McIntyre will be a wing left, and the Raiders call for a timeout as Beerley came back into the game. Got a timeout on the field, and we'll be back after this 30-second break. Jack Healey, Vince Allo, our engineer Ed Anderson. We're at St. Peter's Field, a huge crowd for the City Classic, the 60th Annual Classic. It's 22-9. The Raiders have the lead with 8:17 left in the third quarter, and the Raiders have it 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line. So McIntyre will be wide left. Downey and Sin are the setbacks. Jimmy and Agnes, the senior quarterback. Beerley is a wing right. Agnes on first down barks him out. And the handoff goes off the left side and getting his way out to about the 31. On the carry was Jeff Sin. Picked up close to 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. And Justin Cannella there on the stop for MSJ.
Ryan Welch carry, gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Well, the PA announcer had Ryan Welch on the carry. I thought
it was Sin, wasn't it? Yeah, I believe so. 2nd down for the Raiders, and we got people jumping here. We'll see. Apparently one against MSJ.
Well, one of the things when you get a penalty called against you is to not act as though it was you that did it, and that's what happened when David Paul went across the line of scrimmage. As soon as the whistle was blown, he turned away in disgust, and virtually he just said to the officials, "I'm guilty, throw the flag on me." But
it is against MSJ offside. They mark 5 yards against the Mounties, and the Raiders have it at their own 36-yard line. 2nd down and a long 2. In motion now is Beerley left to right, and Agnes on the handoff to Downey has a hole off right tackle out across the 40, out to about the 43-yard line. Pickup of 7 on a Raider first down. Rogers there, and Nichols on the tackle.
Gainers to the Raider 44-yard line. That is the first down.
1st and 10 for Rutland High. They're going to mark it at the Raider 43. Sin out, Welch in for Rutland High. Wide left goes Randy Gagne. Downey and Welch are the setbacks, and Beerley a wing right. And then Agnes barks him out. He's got Beerley in motion right to left now. 1st and 10 for the Raiders, their own 43. Play action, and Agnes throws long, wants Gagne, and he overthrows him incomplete. Down around the Mountie 25. Gagne well covered, though, by John Hackett. The clock stops with 7:12 remaining in the third quarter. The Raiders have a 22-9 lead.
Well, for the first time this afternoon, we see the Agnes to Gagne attempt long downfield. It fooled nobody on the MSJ side of the football defensively, as Hackett was with him step for step, all the way down the left side of the field. And what's tried to set that play up for the Raiders was the ball faking they had in the backfield.
McFerrin is in, and Downey gets a breather for Rutland High. Wide right, Gagne. 2nd and 10 for the Raiders at their own 43-yard line. Welch is in along with McFerrin, and Beerley is a wing left. And the handoff goes to Welch, sweeps it left, and cuts it against the green, and squeezes a couple out of it across the 45 to about the 46 before he's dropped. Jason Haynes over there on the stop for MSJ. 7 for the Raiders at their own 46-yard line.
Big 3rd down play as we approach the midway point of the third quarter here now. Should MSJ come up with a stop, they'll get the football back and try to stop this Rutland drive here in the third quarter. And obviously Rutland would like to keep the drive going as they're already up 22-9.
Downey is back in. Fair and out for Rutland High, so Welch will be a slot right. Downey is the lone setback, and Agnes back to throw on 3rd down. Throws right, it goes incomplete. He overthrows Randy Gagne. Down around the Mountie 44, again well covered by Hackett. And it'll be 4th down and a long 7 for the Raiders at their own 46. And again, the Raiders will have to boot the football away.
Well, the MSJ defense, one of the 4 players they wanted to key on this afternoon was Randy Gagne, and they haven't been able to free him up downfield. The Raiders haven't, and give a lot of that credit to John Hackett with his downfield coverage against a very dangerous receiver in Randy Gagne.
So Hiller back to boot for the Raiders, back around the Raider 33. Hackett and Nichols back deep for the Mounties, around the Mountie 20 or so. And the snap was a good one. Downey is the long snapper. Hiller gets the boot away, and this will go to Nichols at the 19. Nichols straight ahead across the 25, and he gets it out close to the 30-yard line before he's dropped. So the Mounties go on the offense, 1st and 10, close to their own 30-yard line. Clint Parisi was downfield.
Tell you, Hackett's been doing a nice job covering Gagne downfield for the Raiders, and on that punt return, he threw a huge block that freed Nichols to get a few extra yards on that punt return.
The Mounties will have it 1st and 10. They're going to mark it at the Mountie 29. Nichols and Rogers wide right. Canella and Lombardi in the eye behind Sean Keenan. 6:15 left, third quarter. Clock running now. The Raiders have a 22-9 lead. Hand off to Bombardi. Sweeps it right. Has some room, and he's cut down as he got it out to about the 33-yard line. Downey got him by the shirt tops. Or Bombardi might have had a lot more yardage on that. As it was, he picked out 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 MSJ at the Mountie 33.
Well, all Downey had to do that time was reach out and trip up Bombardi as he ran by, and he did a nice job of doing that, or elsewise Bombardi had a lot of green in front of him down the far side of the field.
Mel and Bombardi are the setbacks. Keenan on the handoff to Bombardi. Double reverse, it goes to Nichols, and Nichols picks up about a yard as he's dropped at the 34. Looked like Drew on the tackle again. Well, he's been in a whole bunch of plays today. Defensive effort today by Bill Drew. That looks like it was going to get a lot more, too.
The most important thing Drew's done this afternoon for the Raiders is do a lot of good blocking to clear up Jeff Sin.
So it's 3rd and 5 for the Mounties at their own 34-yard line. Keenan back to throw. Rolls right, looking, still looking. Shoots it down the middle, and it goes incomplete. He just overthrows Jay Stevens at the Raider 46. Covered well by Brian Pinney. I'll tell you, what a bullet by Sean Keenan, though.
Well, he's got the ability to throw it long downfield, and like you always like to say, Jack, on a frozen rope. And that time he laid off just enough to try to get it down to Stevens, and a lot of people here in attendance thought that there should have been a flag thrown on the play, but nothing was thrown by the officiating staff.
So this has been a defensive battle in the third quarter, and after a lot of scoring in the first half, 22-9 Raiders, 5:10 remaining in the third quarter. Mounties on 4th and 5 will have to boot it away. Nichols back to boot. Either Sin or Welch, and Nichols gets the boot away. Line drive to Welch at the Raider 39, across the 40, 45, 50, Mountie 45, and driven out of bounds by Nichols at the Mountie 44 or so. And so the Raiders have excellent field position. They'll mark it at the Mountie 43. 1st and 10, Rutland High. Nice return by Ryan Welch.
And that gives Rutland good field position on their drive here. 5:01 remaining in the third quarter. Rutland on top 22-9. And Welch really had only one option, was to try to get as much yards as he can because the Mounties were down good in good coverage on the punt return.
Abitel over the football. Gagne wide left, Hiller tight left. McFerrin and Welch behind Jimmy and Agnes. 1st and 10 for the Raiders. Hand off to Welch as he sweeps it left, and he is dropped by Jeff Posabot as he maybe got it back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Rutland High at the Mountie 43.
Mentioning Posabot for one of the few times here this afternoon. Usually a big player defensively for the Mounties, and they're looking for him to step it up defensively here in the second half. And haven't seen much of Jeff Sin running the football here in the second half. It's been mostly Ryan Welch for the Raiders.
Sin is in along with Welch now. Beerley is a wing left, Gagne wide left. 2nd and 10 for the Raiders, the Mountie 43. There you go, Sin straight ahead down to the 40 and then driven back. Hand off to Jeff Sin, driven back by Jay Stevens. So with a market, they give him a couple down to the Mountie 41. It'll be 3rd and 8 for Rutland High.
Trying to attack right up the middle of the defensive line of the Mounties. Seems to be working fairly successful this afternoon, and following the blocks of Bill Drew has accounted for 2 of Sin's touchdowns here this afternoon, as well as the extra point, the 2-point conversion that he's also got here this afternoon.
So it'll be 3rd down and close to 8 for the Raiders at the Mountie 41. 3:45 left third quarter. The Raiders have a 22-9 lead. Really now is a wing right, couple of setbacks, and Agnes on the inside handoff to Sin. He's hit and picks up maybe 2 to the 39. The man that hit him first was Justin Canella. Anthony Hughes in there as well.
Brought down by Justin Canella and Kevin Healey.
So it'll be 4th down for the Raiders at the Mount Heat 39, 4th down and about 6.
Well, they've stopped Rutland once again, the MSJ defense, and a lot of the credit has to go with them being able to stop Jeff Sin, as he's been running wild here all afternoon.
Nichols and Hackett back for the Mounties around the Mountie 10. Hiller back around the Raider 46 to boot it away on 4th down. And the snap is a good one. And Hiller gets the boot away, but it's off the side of his foot, hits at the Mountie 36, and then a reverse bounce blown dead by McFerrin at the Mountie 37-yard line. So the Mounties get pretty good field position again as the kick came off the side of the foot of Christian Hiller. And MSJ goes on the offense again here, 1st and 10 at its own 37-yard line. Clock stop with 2:52 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Jason Reagan leads the club out of the huddle. He's over the football for MSJ. He's the center, wide left, Matt Rogers. Wing left is Nichols. The Mounties operate out of the I. Canella the up back, Bombargi the deep back. Nichols in motion. Deep handoff to Bombargi as he sweeps it right. Skips across the 35 up to the 39-yard line. Picked up a couple as he retreated and then got it by the line of scrimmage, and a pickup of a couple out to the 39. Mike Clark on the tackle. 2nd down, close to 7 for the Mounties. At that point, they're on 39-yard line.
Well, it's been a defensive struggle here in the 3rd quarter. Either team doing any scoring to this point. They are moving the football, but the defense has come up with the big plays here in the 3rd quarter.
Mark it between the hash marks now. It's near the right side hash mark now. Back to throw. Keenan on 2nd down. Looks right, throws left, and did Rogers come up with it? No. Goes incomplete. He underthrows Matt Rogers around the Mountie 44. So it'll be 3rd down, and a long 7 for the Mounties at their own 39-yard line. Jeremy Bartlett comes trotting into the football game for MSJ, 6'1", 155-pound junior. And Bartlett comes in for Justin Canella, so Canella gets a breather. Bartlett will bring it wide left along with Rogers. Stevens and Nichols wide right. Bombargi the lone setback behind the junior quarterback Sean Keenan. In motion now, Rogers. And the handoff goes to Bombargi straight ahead, and Bombargi skips out to the 42 before he's dropped a pickup of 3. The Mounties again will be faced with a 4th down, and Mike Clark on the tackle. The Mounties will have to boot the football away. 4th down and about 4. Minute 48 left, 3rd quarter. No scoring here in the quarter after a wild and woolly first half. It's Rutland 22 and MSJ 9.
This punt here will be the 6th punt already of the 3rd quarter, as neither team able to establish anything offensively. Again, the defenses are playing well right now in the 3rd quarter for both schools.
Nichols back to boot and gets the boot away. Jeff Sin calls for a fair catch, and he makes the catch, stumbling on his backside at the Raider 29. So the Raiders will go on the offense. 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line.
6 punts already here in the 3rd quarter.
After a wild first half. Marker at the left side hash mark as Downey is in for Welch.
Hiller and Nichols, the right foot of each, getting a lot of work here in the 3rd quarter.
Abatel leads him out. He's over the football. Leads the club out of the huddle. Wide left is Randy Gagne. Beerley is in motion now, left to right. And Anagnos on the handoff to Downey. He's got a big hole as he gets it to about the 36. Pick up a 7, Matt Rogers on the tackle. It'll be 2nd and 3 for the Raiders, their own 36.
And once again, Rutland continues to do well on 1st down, 1st and 2nd down. That time it was Downey getting 7 yards. And you continue to do that, that'll certainly make things a lot easier on your offense as the game goes on.
Again, Abatel leads the club out of the huddle. Over the football, 2nd down. It is their own 36. Handoff to Sin straight ahead. Nothing much there. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Canella on the stop.
Well, Canella was the first one there. He held him up and waited for his friends to arrive. And they did exactly that as they gang tackled Sin for no gain on the play. And Sin's been held pretty much in check here in the 3rd quarter after doing a lot of damage for the Raiders in the first half.
30 seconds left, 3rd quarter. 3rd down, a long 2 for the Raiders at their own 37-yard line. And he picked up a half yard. The Raiders have a 22-9 lead. Gagne wide left. Beerley is a wing right. Couple of setbacks, Downey and Sin. Jimmy and Agnes barks him out. Beerley's in motion right to left. I think somebody moved on the Raider line here. We'll see, though.
I believe it was number 17, Hiller. There was a lot of movement against the Mounties on the defensive line, but someone from Rutland came out of his stance.
Yeah, it's a legal procedure against the Raiders. They'll mark it back to the Raider 32-yard line.
So what was a 3rd and 3 is now a 3rd and 8.
Yep.
Because of the penalty.
3rd and 7.
3rd and a long 7, we can call it. Brent Bliss will be tied right as Hiller comes out of the football game. Gagne's wide left, Sin and Downey are the setbacks, and Beerley wing left. 3rd down for the Raiders, their own 32-yard line. Back to throw, Jimmy and Agnes. Shoots it down the middle, it goes incomplete. Intended for Randy Gagne at the Raider 42, and he was hit immediately by Matt Rogers. Gagne couldn't quite hang on. Rogers with a big hit. It'll be 4th down along 7 for the Raiders at their own 32 with 4 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Well, that pass definitely had enough for a 1st down had Gagne been able to catch the completion, but a huge hit
Michael
by
Irvin
Matt
had to
Rogers.
hang on to that one. I'll tell you.
Well, you know that. But that was a good hit by Matt Rogers. And a good play call by the Raiders that time, because that's a play that's been open for them here in the game. And the hit just jarred the ball loose from Gagne.
Hiller back to Boat. Either Hackett or Nichols. This will come up short as well. Hit on the Raiders side of the 50 and bounce across the 50-yard line and will be blown dead with the Mountie 48. So the Mounties will go on the offense. That is the end of the 3rd quarter in the 60th MSJ Rutland football game at St. Peter's Field. After 3, our score, Rutland 22, MSJ 9. Back after this 30-second timeout.
That one's safe for me. That one's safe for me. Yeah.
Jack Healey back with Vince Allo. So, it was at halftime, Rutland 22, MSJ 9. Now it's at the end of the 3rd quarter, and Rutland still has the 22-9 lead. So certainly a defensive battle in the 3rd quarter, and the Mounties going left to right here in the 4th quarter have it 1st and 10 at their own 48-yard line.
Well, defensive battle is exactly right, Jack. As in the 3rd quarter, Rutland had the football 4 times, MSJ had it 3 times, and each of them ending with a punt. So 7 punts there in the 3rd quarter alone. So both defenses playing big in the 3rd quarter.
So the Mounties have the football, 1st and 10 at their own 48. Nichols in motion left to right, back to throw, Sean Keenan. Rolls right, being chased, looking, steps up, fires, and is it a catch? Jay Stevens, did he come up with it? Yes, he did. A great sliding catch by Stevens down at the Raider 26-yard line. Great catch by Stevens.
Well,
1st and 10 MSJ.
Keenan rolled to his right looking downfield, and he had to throw it through 3 or 4 Raider defenders that time. He got the job done, thanks in part to the blocking by number 26, Justin Cannella, that gave Keenan enough time to roll to his right, look downfield, and make a completion in good hands that time by Jay Stevens.
26-yard pass completion from Keenan to Stevens. 1st and 10. Mounties the Raider 26. Keenan throws. It goes incomplete. He had Rogers. Actually, Rogers made the catch, but he was out of bounds. Down around the Raiders' 17-yard line. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Mounties at the Raider 26.
Looking to Rogers all the way along the right sideline, but had he looked a little bit to his left, he had Jay Stevens streaking down the middle of the field wide open. He had his hand up, and he had nothing but green in front of him. He would have probably scored on that play, but the play was designed for Rogers. Rogers caught the ball, but he was out of bounds when he did so.
Early going, 4th quarter. 2nd and 10, Mounties, the Raider 26, play action, Keenan, back to throw, throws right, it goes incomplete. He wanted Rogers at the sideline, down around the Raider 14. So it'll be 3rd and 10 for MSJ at the Raider 26. The Raiders have a 22-9 lead, 11:39 left in the football game.
Well, after the big completion to Stevens, they try to go twice in a row to Matt Rogers along the right side of the field, and both times the ball goes out of bounds, although Rogers did catch the one previous to that. He was already out of bounds. That one went incomplete.
Stevens tight left, wide right, Rogers. Slot right is Nichols, Cannella, and Baborgi the setbacks. And Baborgi gets the call, then goes to Nichols on the double reverse. Sweeps it left. He's got some room, and he's cut down at the 20-yard line. And Jimmy and Agnes came up to cut him down. Well, that one picked up about 6. That was 3rd down. That was a 3rd down play. The Mounties will have it 4th down and close to 5 at the Raider 20, just outside the Raider 20-yard line.
Oh, without question, go for it here, simply because both defenses playing the way they are. This would be just like a long punt from further down the field for the Mounties.
So on 4th down, Keenan, play action, rolls right, looking, throws downfield. It is complete to Rogers. He's got the touchdown. Rogers made the catch at about the 2-yard line and then took it in for the touchdown. A 20-yard touchdown pass from Sean Keenan to Matt Rogers. And Rutland now leads it by a score of 22-15.
I tell you, Scott Nichols has been doing the punting and most of the running this afternoon for MSJ, but that time, in the backfield, he came back and took out 3 Raiders with 1 block, and that gave Keenan just enough time to look downfield along the right side. Boy, there's a big surprise to Matt Rogers. They had tried to do that twice already on this drive, and Rutland scores on the 6th play of that drive, and they're back in business now. MSJ looking for 2.
1 for 2, Keenan play action, rolls right, looking. Throws underneath, and it goes incomplete, intended for Nichols, and he scooped it up. He trapped it, so the try for the extra point's no good. So with 10:58 remaining in the football game, our score, Rutland High 22, MSJ 15. Back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout. A 20-yard touchdown pass from Sean Keenan to Matt Rogers. The try for the extra point's no good. And it is now Rutland High 22 and MSJ 15 with 10:58 left in regulation.
Well, for the first time in this second half, the crowd had something to cheer about for either school. As the third quarter looked more like a tennis match, as they were looking back and forth, punt, 7 punts in the third quarter alone. And the first drive of the fourth quarter results in a touchdown for MSJ. 5 plays, 52 yards, 1 minute, 2 seconds off the clock, and definitely tightens things up here early on in the fourth quarter.
Frankie Vaccaro and Ryan Welch are back deep for Rutland High to receive the Scott Nichols boot. And here is the Nichols boot now, and this will come down to Vaccaro, drops it at the 10, picks it up at the 10-yard line, takes it right across the 15, and he gets his way out across the 20, still on his feet, out to about the 23-yard line. Nice return for Frankie Vaccaro after he initially dropped the boot and picked it up again. Nichols on the hit for MSJ downfield.
Well, he bobbled the kick initially and faked the handoff to Welch, went around the right side, was hit at about the 15 or 18-yard line, and kept the legs moving and picked up a few extra yards all by himself, and Nichols on the stop.
They're going to mark it at the Raider 21-yard line. 1st and 10 for Rutland High at their own 21. 22-15. The Raiders lead the Mounties with 10:49 left in regulation. Gagne's wide right. A couple of setbacks behind Jimmy and Agnes, and he's got a wing left. It's Jason Beerley. Setbacks are Downey and Jeff Sin. And Agnes now, and the handoff to Sin, sweeps it left, then against the grain, takes it to the outside and skips his way out to about the 25-yard line. Pick up before, it'll be 2nd and 6 for Rutland High. John Johnson on the tackle for MSJ.
Well, when you need a big play and you need someone to get a drive started, you go to your senior captain, Jeff Sin, and that's who they go to on 1st down there. He picks up 4 yards. And if Rutland's going to answer that MSJ touchdown, it looks like Sin's going to be the guy that's going to have to get it done for the Raiders.
Gagne wide right, Hiller tight left, Beerley again a wing left, and Downey and Sin are the setbacks. 2nd and 6 for the Raiders, their own 25-yard line. And Agnes on the handoff now to Downey off right tackle. Nothing much there, a whole bunch of Mounties to drop him. Fired up defensive unit, Canella, Popovich there. They had some help. So it'll be 3rd down. 3rd down and 5 for Rutland High at their own 26-yard line. Picked up about a yard when it was all said and done.
Well, with the score 22-15, Rutland right now, the momentum has shifted back towards MSJ as Rutland had taken that away to end the first half. And nothing really happened in the third quarter. Now MSJ is riding an emotional high after the touchdown.
Downey and Sin are the setbacks wide left. Gagne, big 3rd down play. Inside handoff to Sin, breaks it to the outside across the 30, spins, and he gets it out across the 35 to the 36. Big carry for Jeff Sin, a 10-yard pickup, and a Raider 1st down.
When you need a big play, who do you go to? You go to Jeff Sin, your go-to guy virtually the last 2 games for Rutland. Thinking back once again, you don't mean to keep referring to this, but he was the sole reason that Rutland won that game against Mount Anthony. And right here, they need a big play on 3rd and long, and they respond with Jeff Sin.
Big 10-yard pickup for Jeff Sin. 1st and 10, Raiders, their own 36. 9:19 left in regulation. Rutland 22, MSJ 15. And Beerley now wing right. The ends are tight. Couple of setbacks, and Beerley is in motion right to left as Jimmy and Agnes barks him out. Magnus inside, handoff to Sin. Trey takes it straight ahead and skips his way out to about the 39. A pickup of a couple. Here on the tackle, Kevin Hughes. Coming out to the 38. We'll call it second down, a long 7 for the Raiders at their own 38-yard line. Marking near the right side hash mark as Sin comes out of the football game now. Welch is in along with Downey in the backfield. Wide left is Randy Gagne and also Beerley in the backfield. Power I set up for Rutland High. Jimmy Agnes on second down. Hand off to Welch. Takes it to the outside. Out across the 45, 50, 45, and what they're going to say went out of bounds at the Mountie 48-yard line. Took it downfield, but went out of bounds at the 48. Pickup of 12 by Ryan Welch and a Raider first down. The Mounties made it close in the first half and went up 9-8. The Raiders came right back up the field and scored. They're trying to do the same thing here now. So the Mounties have made it close. Raiders have a 7-point lead, but the Raiders have it 1st and 10 in Mountie territory. Going to mark it at the Mountie 49.
Well, for the second time this afternoon, Jack, you're right. MSJ gets a big touchdown, swings some momentum, and Rutland takes it downfield, and doing just like they did in the first half, they've got a drive of their own going right now.
Fair in the up back, Welch the deep back out of the eye. Here's the pitch to Welch, takes it right, then against the grade 45, and he's finally rumbled out of bounds at the Mountie 41-yard line. Pickup of close to 8, Scott Nichols and Canella drove him out of bounds across the way. Clock stops with 8:22 left in the fourth quarter.
Well, Sin got that drive started in the next two plays have been Ryan Welch, gain of 12 and gain of 8. So Welch and Sin continue to run the ball very effectively this afternoon for the Raiders.
It'll be 2nd and 2 for the Raiders, the Mountie 41. Rutland 22 and MSJ 15, 8:22 left in the fourth quarter. Mark it at the right side hash mark. Gagne now wide left. And Beerley is in motion left to right. Magnus gets the snap. Hand off to McFerrin. Second man off right tackle inside the 35. Down at the Mountie 32-yard line. Pickup of 9. Justin Canella on the stop for MSJ. It's a Raider first down. This isn't a strange game or what. All the scoring in the first half. Nothing much in the third quarter. Both defensive units really dominating the third quarter. And here in the fourth quarter, back to the offense again.
Well, the third quarter was pretty much a basic punt, pass, and kick contest between Rutland and MSJ, and now things have certainly stepped up here in the fourth quarter.
1st and 10 Raiders at the Mountie 32-yard line. And Agnes on the give to Sin, straight ahead, 25, spins at the 20, and still on his feet, and he's inside the 15, down at the 13-yard line. Jeff Sin, a 19-yard pickup and a Raider first down. Canella on the stop for MSJ.
And Sin continues to do much damage for the Raiders here this afternoon. 19 on that play right there. And he got hit after he gained about 15 yards and spun free and got 4 more yards before Canella wrapped him up. And this drive here has been vintage Jeff Sin.
1st and 10 Raiders, the Mountie 14. Downey and Welch are now the setback. Sin gets a breather. Wide left is Gagne. Beerley is in motion left to right from his wingback spot. And Agnes gets the snap. Hand off to Downey off right tackle. He's inside the 10, still on his feet. And he gets it inside the 5 and awfully close. He's down at about the 2 or 3 yard line across the way. For sideline, Nichols and Canella over there. And also Matt Rogers. Got it to about the 4 yard line, just inside the 5. It'll be second down. They're going to mark it at the 5. Second down, less than a yard for the Raiders at the Mountie 5. Big drive for the Raiders in this football game as Sin is in along with Downey. Setbacks behind Jimmy and Agnes and the power I set up because Beerley also is in the backfield. And Agnes on the handoff to Sin straight ahead, puts his head down, carries people with him, and he's awfully close. He does have the first down. He's in! Touchdown! Jeff Sin, a 5-yard touchdown run, and the Raiders now go up by a score of 28-15 with 6:59 left in the fourth quarter.
Well, just like that, the momentum goes back over to Rutland. We've seen it happen for the second time here this afternoon. And Jeff Sin, once again, puts the nail in the coffin as far as that drive is concerned with another touchdown. And he's doing much damage here for the Raiders against the MSJ defense. And they've really got to do something to figure out how to stop Jeff Sin here this afternoon.
Well, after the Mounties had cut it to 7 points, so the Raiders now back up by 13, and Christian Hiller is going to attempt the extra point here. 6:59 left in the fourth quarter. And the snap is down. The kick by Hiller is up. It looked good, but there was a penalty marker down, a legal procedure against the Raiders, so they'll have to do it again. Randy Gagne is the holder.
Well, that drive took 10 plays, 67 yards, just about 4 minutes off the game clock. And big plays on that drive was Jeff Sin on a first down, gaining 10 yards. Ryan Welch with a 12-yard gain, and Jeff Sin again, 2 plays before the touchdown with a 19-yard gain, and Sin takes it in from 5 yards out, and Rutland's on top, 28-15.
Jeff Sin with 3 touchdowns in this football game this afternoon for Rutland High. Hiller will try again, but this time from the 15 on the extra point. Snap down, Gagne puts it down. The kick by Hiller is up, and it is no good, wide off to the right. So the try for the extra point, no good. 6:59 left in the ball game, and our score, Rutland High 28, MSJ 15. Back with a kickoff after this 30-second timeout. Jack Healey, Vince Allo, our engineer Ed Anderson, as it started to rain here at St. Peter's Field. Unanticipated rain is happening. 6:59 left in the ball game, 28-15 Rutland. Left in the ball game or regulation. You can, of course, always anticipate overtime. The MSJ Rutland game has never gone into overtime since the rule went into effect back in 1976. Hackett and Nichols back deep for the Mounties to receive the Christian Hiller boot. So Jeff Sin has a 30-yard touchdown run, a 5-yard touchdown run, and a 6-yard touchdown run. Sin just a few moments ago from 5 yards out, as the Raiders have a 28-15 lead here in the 60th MSJ Rutland game at St. Peter's Field.
Well, that play was so close to the end zone, it was really tough to see whose lead block he followed, but a safe bet would be that it was Bill Drew that did the blocking for Sin on that 3rd touchdown run of the afternoon.
Here's the Hiller boot now, and this will come down to Nichols at the 14-yard line. Straight ahead, 20, 25, still on his feet, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Nichols to the 45, breaks the tackle inside at the 40, and he is dropped at the Raider 37-yard line. And we got penalty markers down. Scott Nichols almost took it all the way. And I didn't catch who made that saving tackle. It might have been Welch.
Coach Brian Grady is yelling at number 64, Rourke Hart, right now.
No, it was a 48-yard return for Nichols, and the penalty marker down. We'll see which way it's going to go. It's going to go against MSJ for the personal foul.
I believe that's why Coach Grady was yelling at Rourke Hart. He may have done something as the play was already ended, and that would bring the play back 15 yards. But I tell you, a game of momentum changes here this afternoon. Rutland just pulls the momentum away with that long touchdown drive, ended with Jeff Sin's 3rd touchdown. And just like that, MSJ back in business with a big return by Nichols, but then again, the penalty backs it up 15.
Well, the Mounties still have pretty good field position after the 15-yard penalty. Personal foul. They'll have it 1st and 10 at their own 46. Nichols returned that officially about 48 yards.
You think back earlier, MSJ scored. Rutland used a Ryan McIntyre big kickoff return to set them up for a touchdown.
Mounties operate out of the I. Lorman is the up back, Bombargi the deep back. Nichols is wide right. Keenan now, 1st and 10, back to throw. Throws, and it goes incomplete. He overthrows Lorman at the 50-yard line. 2nd and 10 for the Mounties at their own 46. I'll tell you, both teams just, I know it's a cliche, but they've shown a lot of character. Just when you think you got the Mounties down, they come right back. And just when you think the Raiders might yield the lead, they come right back.
Well, without question, you cannot tell that one team is going to the playoffs and one team only has one victory this season. As this is certainly a game to remember.
6:41 left in the football game. The Raiders up 28-15. Keenan on 2nd down, handoff to Nichols, and he stood up at the line of scrimmage. There he is, Mike Clark. Wraps him up and wrestles him to the turf here at St. Peter's Field.
Well, Clark doing a nice job, first of all, standing his blocker up, shedding the block off, and wrapping him up all by himself for no gain on the play.
I might say that I've said 3rd down and 10 now. It's 3rd down and 25. It was after the play, so the Mounties originally, after that personal foul, I might have said 10 yards ago. It's 3rd down and 25. My mistake for the Mounties back at their own 46-yard line. Keenan throws left, and it is complete. Bartlett comes back on the catch at the 45, and he spins, and he's down at the Raider 43-yard line. So that picks up about 11 yards, but it's 4th down. After the penalty against the Mounties, you might remember the Mounties had the 1st down, then they stuck the 15-yard, and I was thinking it was a dead ball foul, but it was after the 1st down, so the Mounties had it 1st and long, and now they have it 4th and 14. I might have said 1st and 10 and 2nd and 10 a couple of times. But we do have a timeout on the field, so when we come back, it'll be 4th down and 14 for the Mounties at the Raider 43-yard line. Mountie timeout. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout. Got it.
I met you, battery.
Jack Healey back with Vince Allo at St. Peter's Field, 28-15. Rutland with the lead. We have 5:42 left in the football game, and the Mounties have it 4th and 14 at the Raider 43-yard line. Again, just to explain, after that dead ball foul against the Mounties for 15 yards when they moved it back into Mountie territory after that great return by Nichols, the Mounties actually had it 1st and 25 at that time. And
well, 4th and 14 now for the Mounties.
Generally speaking, you would have it 1st and 10, except the dead ball foul moved it back, and they, of course, had it 1st and 25. So on 4th down, Keenan back to throw, rolls right, throws downfield. It is complete to Nichols at the 27, and he is knocked out of bounds at the Raider 23 by Brian Penny, and that picks up 23 yards, and that is a Mountie 1st down. Big pass play from Keenan to Nichols.
And once again, Keenan being most effective, rolling to his right, looking downfield. Nichols just stepped up into the seam there, found himself wide open. They got the 1st down completion on 4th down and long.
5:35 left in the ball game. 28-15. Raiders 1st and 10 for Keenan and company. Rolls left, looking to throw. Still looking. Fires. It is complete to Bombargi inside the 20s, down at the 18. As Brent Bliss made the tackle, it picked up 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 for MSJ at the Raider 18-yard line.
Well, MSJ now knocking on the door of the Raider defense, of the Raider goal line, and pulling that momentum back away from Rutland.
As it is raining here at St. Peter's Field, unanticipated and predicted rain has started. Jason Gregg in the center, he's over the football for MSJ. Well, he's have it 2nd and 5 at the Raider 18-yard line. Keenan back to throw. Looking. Shoots it toward the end zone. It's incomplete. He overthrows Jay Stevens, who was covered well by Jimmy Anagnos. And so it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Mounties at the Raider 18.
Well, the Mounties certainly going for the 6 that time. Stevens just couldn't catch up to the football. But Anagnos doing a nice job of downfield coverage, and Anagnos known for doing that. You think back to the Mount Anthony game once again, he certainly did a nice job of downfield coverage all afternoon for the Raiders.
4:54 remaining here in the football game as Lorman is in wide left along with Rogers. 2 wideouts right, Nichols and also Jay Stevens. 3rd down for Keenan and company. Back to throw, steps up, shoots it toward the end zone, and it is intercepted by Berquist. Berquist runs it out to the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 along the near sideline. When Berquist is knocked out of bounds at the Raider 39-yard line. Berquist, who looked like he picked it off about a yard deep in the end zone, returns it about 40 yards, and the Raiders turn away the Mountie threat, and the Raiders have it 1st and 10. Where did they say they're going to mark it now? Where did they say he went out of bounds? I guess at the 36-yard line. So he returned that about 37 yards. Kyle Berquist on interception, and for the 3rd time giving himself a birthday present here on his 17th birthday.
And that's only the 2nd turnover this afternoon against the Mounties. The first one came on their first drive to open this game, a fumble by Canella. This time, Keenan going for the end zone, trying to hit Nichols. Berquist, using his 6'3" height, just stepped in the middle and picked the ball off.
Justin Colte is in, tight left now for Rutland High. McFerrin and Welch are the setbacks. Beerley is wing right, 1st and 10 for the Raiders. As the handoff goes to McFerrin, and he picks up a couple out to the 39. So the Mountie threat turned aside on Berquist's interception. As we have 4:27 left in the football game. Now Stevens on the tackle. And into the football game is Steve Bernier now, the tight end. Spot near side. And in fact, some Gary Colte is in too. There might be some changes along the line of scrimmage, or the offensive line, I should say. Raiders have it 2nd and 8 at their own 39-yard line. Magnus on the handoff to Welch off right tackle across the 40 out to about the 42. That was the football. And Anderson recovers, who was also, are they going to say the play was dead? They might have said the play was dead anyway.
Gang tackled out there, led by Justin Cannella.
Well, they're going to mark it out to the 43-yard line.
Well, you can just feel like the air was let out of a balloon here over on the MSJ side of St. Peter's Field. They were driving the ball, the crowd was in it, and that one interception play by Berquist just turned away what potentially could have been a touchdown drive that time by the Mounties.
It's 3rd down and 4 for the Raiders at their own 43-yard line. 3:20 left in the football game. The Raiders have a 28-15 lead. Again, they operate out of the power I. Give it Agnes now on the handoff to Sin straight ahead, and he squeezes his way for a couple out to the 45. It'll be shy of first down yardage. It'll be 4th down. The Raiders will have to boot it away here. Bunch of Mounties there to drop him.
Well, there still is a lot of time left in this game, but just under 3 minutes. MSJ with some timeouts left, and good kickoff, good punt return here by either Hackett or Nichols would set them up in good field position.
Here's a boot on the stop for the Mounties. It'll be 4th down, about a yard for the Raiders at their own 45. Hiller back to boot it away, back around his own 32 to either Hackett or Nichols. 2:35 and counting left in the football game. Rutland 28 and MSJ 15. Snap a good one. And Hiller gets the boot away. It'll hit outside the 30, roll inside the 25. And it will roll dead, finally, blown dead by Ryan Welch at the Mountie 21-yard line. So the Mounties go on the offense, 1st and 10 at their own 21-yard line with 2:22 left in the football game. Rutland High 28 and MSJ 15. At the end of the game in our post-game show, we'll be talking to a few of the winning players and also the winning coach if we can. On to the post-game show. We anticipate a rather lengthy post-game show, as we always do after the MSJ Rutland battles. And we'll be down there in the rain despite it all.
Your hair might get messed up, Jack.
Keenan back to throw. 1st and 10, his own 21. Pumps once, throws, and it goes incomplete. Intended for Rogers up around the Mountie 35. Covered well by Downey and Bliss. And as a matter of fact, Downey might have got a piece of it. A couple of new Raiders are in. We mentioned Jeff Poremski, who is Jeff Posabout's cousin, is into the ball game. Defensively for Rutland High. Trombley is in. Also into the football game is Mike Diana for Rutland High. 2nd and 10 for the Mounties, their own 21. Keenan rolls left, looking to throw, shoots it down the middle, and it goes incomplete. Berquist almost came up with another interception, tried to come up with a diving interception at the Mountie 39-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 10 for MSJ at their own 21. Clock stops with 2:07 left.
I might as well say it because I know you probably would have in a few minutes, but that would have been another birthday present for Kyle Berquist, celebrating his 17th birthday here this afternoon. Already has one gift, a big interception deep in Rutland territory.
Wide right is Nichols. Rogers wide left. 3rd and 10, Keenan, play action. Here's it out along the near sideline. He wants Nichols, and it goes incomplete as it's knocked away by Jimmy and Agnes. Looks like the throw was there. It was going to be there. Right around the Raider 40, and Agnes knocked it away. A nice defensive play by Jimmy and Agnes. So the Mounties will have it 4th and 10 at their own 21. With 2:01 left in the football game, they'll have to boot it away.
Oh, you're right, Jack. That ball definitely had enough yardage to get completed to Nichols way downfield. And at the very last second, Rutland quarterback Jim Anagnos reached out with his right hand and knocked it away.
Steve Pryor, Chadwick in there for the Raiders. Back deep, Frankie Vaccaro, and also Ryan Welch for Rutland High around the Raider 30. Scott Nichols back to boot inside his own 10. And the snap is a good one. And Nichols gets the boot away, but it's off the side of his foot. It is going to hit inside the Mountie 20, but take a Mountie roll across the 25 and blown dead at the Mountie 25-yard line. So we've seen that happen a couple of times, twice for Scott Nichols, certainly once for Christian Hiller in this game. And now the Raiders have it 1st and 10 at the Mountie 24 with 1:50 left in the football game, and the Raiders have a 28-15 lead. And let's see, is Stu St. Peter going to get some action at quarterback? Yes, he is. He comes into the football game. Stu St. Peter is a 6'3", 170-pound junior. His dad, you heard him on the Football Memory Show, played for the Raiders back in the early 50s. And the handoff goes off the right side, getting his way down to about the 20-yard line as Frankie Vaccaro on the carry. picked up close to 5.
Tackled by David Hall and Jeff Posebot.
Paul and Posebot on the tackle. 2nd and 5 for the Raiders at the Mount Heat 20-yard line. Luke Austin is in defensively for David Paul for the Mounties. To St. Peter, a couple of setbacks. And he goes to McFerrin, off right tackle, breaking tackles, and he gets it inside the 15, down about the 13-yard line, a pickup of 7, and a Raider first down. John Johnson on the tackle for MSJ.
Well, the important thing now for the Raiders is to start thinking about next week and their showdown against Middlebury. And that's why he's made some wholesale substitutions to get his key players out of there and avoid an injury going into that game with Middlebury.
Here's a first down, 1st and 10 for the Raiders at the Mountie 14. Justin Colte is wide right. Beerley is a wing left. McFerrin and Vaccaro are the setbacks. And we have people jumping all over the place here. 1:01 left in the football game. And which way are they going to call this? The Raiders will win their 30th game in the series here and snap an MSJ 2-game winning streak in the series. The Raiders, of course, go on to Middlebury Friday night in the semis. The Mounties, who did themselves proud of legal procedure against the Raiders, the Mounties did themselves proud here today, but the Raiders did too, as every time the Mounties threatened, the Raiders came right back and scored. Jason Laddebush is into the football game at a tackle on the left side. Also in Steve Bernier, wide left, so the Raiders have it first down and 15 at the Mountie 19. Chadwick is in, gets the call, takes it to about the 16. Whole bunch of Mounties there to drop him. 48 seconds left in the football game. The Raiders up 28-15. I'll tell you, this was a very entertaining football game this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, no doubt about it.
Oh, without question. If you look at the matchup on paper, you're thinking blowout by Rutland, but not the case. MSJ with an outstanding performance all afternoon, and a lot of credit goes to Rutland, answering all the calls all afternoon long. Every time MSJ put together a drive and punched in the end zone, Rutland responded with a drive of their own and answered, and certainly made it an interesting game.
Keisha Galliano is in as the handoff goes to either Galliano or Chadwick. I think it went to Chadwick. They bumped into each other. Got it back, got it to about the 14. And that might be the final play of the football game. 3 seconds left in the 60th MSJ Rutland football game. And that is the ball game, and Rutland has won it by a score of 28-15. That's your final. Rutland High 28, MSJ 15. And we will be back to wrap it here in just a couple, and Vince Allo will be talking to you. We'll recap the scoring on the field, and we'll try to get to as many of the players and the coaches we can in our post-game show. Rutland wins it 28-15, so the Raiders wrap up the regular season at 6-3. The Mounties wrap it up at 1-7. Certainly did a nice job here this afternoon in a losing effort, but the Raiders certainly, as we mentioned a few times already, when they got threatened, they came right back up the field and scored. They go on to the playoffs next week against Middlebury. They can go into that postseason game on a winning note. Both teams played very well, and the 60th game is over. Rutland now leads in the series 30-24 with 6 ties. That's your final. Rutland High 28, MSJ 15. And we'll be back after this 2-minute timeout. Tyler Kyle Berquist first off, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk to Jeff soon. Kyle, first of all, we mentioned about 5 times in the game. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And you gave yourself a nice birthday present in the end zone, huh?
Yeah, it helped out a lot.
Now, it looked to me, Kyle had a interception late in the game. It looked to me like you were about a yard or two deep in the end zone. Did you have visions of 102 yards for a touchdown?
I didn't know where I was. I just knew it's a long ways to that end zone.
Yeah, it sure was. As it was, I think you got about 37, 38 yards, but certainly that's going to be a special thrill. Number 1, the Rutland MSJ game. Number 2, your birthday. And, of course, winning the game, too.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
I know you have a lot of fans out there that certainly support you. You have a nice family that support you all the time. Now, this is certainly, you guys knew that you were going to play Middlebury in the postseason anyway. This is certainly to go. It certainly gives you somewhat of a boost as you go into that game on a winning note, because if you had lost it, it would have been tough to get fired up again next week.
Yeah, certainly get some momentum going for us. We just have to not get too high on this win. Concentrate for next week.
All right, congratulations, Kyle.
Thank you.
All right, again, happy birthday. Now, Ryan McIntyre here. And Ryan, let's see. It was after MSJ had taken the lead 9-8. And Ryan, you had the ensuing kickoff. And I think if we look at a key play in the game, that might have been it.
Well, I don't know. I was just looking for the hole, I guess, on the middle return. And I don't know, I just saw some light and took off, I guess. I was looking to break it open, but I didn't, so I don't know.
Well, you guys realized how important that return was because you had gotten behind at that time, 9-8. You were in relatively good position up to that point. You were ahead 8-0. MSJ came back and scored a touchdown, and of course the big field goal. So, were you guys shocked somewhat at the closeness of the game at that point?
Yeah, well, we knew it would be a close game because this game always is, you know. But I don't know. We came through, we pulled together, and we just won. So.
Well, congratulations. Any thoughts on Middlebury next week?
I don't know. It's going to be a close one, but I think we can take it.
All right, we'll let you savor this one for a little while. But nice job today. Ryan McIntyre, Vince. Ryan McIntyre with that big return on the kickoff after MSJ had taken a 9-8 lead. We're in the post-game show. Rutland High has won the 60th MSJ Rutland game by a score of 28-15. Jimmy, come on over. Jimmy and Agnes, senior quarterback. Jimmy, this is always extra special in your senior year, but last year, I know we think back, you had the big injury, and you didn't really get back into things until well after Christmas as far as basketball season was concerned. That had to be on your mind today.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but I mean, once you get out there and start playing, it really doesn't bother you at all. So.
Jimmy, as far as the game plan was concerned for your club, did you do exactly what you wanted to do?
Yeah, we wanted to keep the ball in our hands because we knew we had a good offense and we knew our run game could probably do well, so we just kept running the ball and it worked. So.
It seemed like both teams were pretty resilient today. You guys got down 9-8, came right back up the field. Every time it looked like you had MSJ down, they came up. And then, of course, when MSJ cut it to 7, you guys went right back up the field again. It was just as if to say, we're not going to do anything offensively until we're pressured into that situation.
Oh, yeah, that's the way a lot of Rutland MSJ games go. I mean, they're a very good football team, and, I mean, they played real well. We expected that, and we played well, too. So,
what do you feel was the biggest key of the game today?
Getting a running game going because that set the tone for the whole game. We kept the ball out of their hands for a lot of the game by doing that.
Jimmy and Agnes, a Raider quarterback his senior year, and it's on to the postseason next week against Middlebury. Got a second crack at those guys.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this. We really want to play them again because we didn't play too well last time, and we had a lot of turnovers and penalties. So.
All right, congratulations on this one, Jimmy. I know you've been waiting a long year to get back. Again, congratulations. Jimmy and Agnes, Raider quarterback. We're in the post-game show. The Raiders winning over MSJ 28-15. Here's a guy that just really came to the forefront over the last couple of weeks. Jeff Sin, another big day today. Jeff, you had 3 touchdowns in the game, and I'm going to tell the coach here in just a second there were only 5 players in the history of the MSJ Rutland game to ever score 4 touchdowns. Thought he might give it to you at the 1, but he gave it to Downey.
Well, I don't know, Coach. I don't know. He's finally not playing me at wingback anymore. That's the big thing about it. That's it.
I know you talked to us during the course of the week, and you said, I'm back in the backfield. I don't like running parallel to the line of scrimmage, huh?
Yeah, I don't like to harp on it about, having not to play wingback anymore, but I'm just more comfortable in the backfield, and today was just a good day.
You certainly showed it, that's for sure. Just a couple of things today, Jeff. First of all, you had a great game last week. I told you, I asked you if you thought maybe it was your best game of the year last week. Does this one surpass that? Of course, it's against the city rivals today.
Well, I don't think it's my best game of the year. I think the past 2 games, our offensive line has just been tearing open holes. And I mean, you're playing really well now. It's a good time to come to the peak right now.
It was a game just filled with big plays and really key plays. We had talked to Ryan McIntyre, the kickoff return after you guys got behind. Another key play, you scored the 3 touchdowns, but the halfback option, the option pass that you got Randy Gagne down at the 1-yard line.
Oh, I don't know. That wasn't really a good pass. I just lofted it up in the air and got hit at the same time, so I didn't really get to see the pass. But we just put that on during this week, so.
As a matter of fact, that turned out to be a big play, too, because that increased, if I'm not mistaken, your 16-9 lead to 22-9 at halftime, because Downey scored. We just mentioned Jacob Downey getting that 1-yard touchdown run, so that gave you guys a pretty good lead at halftime.
Yeah, not just a lead, but it gave us a lot of momentum going into the half, and then we just talked about it during halftime, and we just kept on going from there.
Well, Jeff, congratulations. Super job today, and best of luck next week.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Rutland High's Jeff Sin, who had another superb game here this afternoon. And now the coach, Coach Beerworth. And and congratulations, Coach, on a good effort for your club today.
Well, it was a good offensive effort, Jack. You know, we ran the football very well. They did a nice job defending our pass game, and so we took the run in the second half, and Jeff had a big ball game. Ryan Welch ran real tough, and, you know, defensively, we ran into a good passing football team today, and they certainly took advantage of some of our weaknesses in the secondary. You've got to give MSJ an awful lot of credit, though. One win coming in, and they played their hearts out for 4 quarters, and, you know, their coaching staff and fans should be very proud of the way their players played today.
We're talking to Rutland High coach John Beerworth in our post-game show as Rutland High defeated MSJ by a score of 28-15. We just talked with the guys, Jeff and Ryan McIntyre and a few of the others, about it was a game just chock full of big plays. When you guys got down 9-8, maybe the biggest play was McIntyre's return.
Well, yes, you know, Ryan's been returning the kicks for a couple weeks now. We feel we have 4 good people that can do that for us at this point. And Ryan's a junior. He's still learning a lot of things, and it's nice to see the kids make big plays like that.
And, of course, you had the touchdown pass from Jeff Sin, or not the touchdown pass, but it set up the big touchdown by Downey at the end of the first half when you guys had a 22-9 lead. Instead of going into the locker room with a 1 touchdown lead, you had a 2 touchdown lead.
Well, you know, Jack, we've played very well at the end of ball games and at the end of halves all year, and it was that case again today. We scored twice in the last 4 minutes of the first half, and, you know, we've worked hard on that play this week, and Jeff threw a ball good enough, and Randy made a great catch.
You know, both clubs really seemed resilient today. You mentioned that MSJ played a good game. When I thought you had them down, they came right back. Then when it looked like you guys might yield that lead, you came right back. There were a couple of situations like that today.
Yeah, that last drive for our last touchdown, Jack, was a big series because there were still 8 or 9 minutes left in the game, and we ground out the ball, used up the clock, and we did put it in the end zone, but more importantly, we used the clock at that point.
And it's on to the playoffs next week against Middlebury. Indeed, you'll get a second shot at Middlebury. I know you want to savor this one for a minute or two, though.
Well, yes. You know, we knew we'd be playing Middlebury before we came in today, and we're going to take our best crack at them. They're an excellent football team, and we'll see how it turns out.
All right, and just what I said to Jeff Sin, I don't know whether he knew it or not. You know, there are 5 players in the history of this game who scored 4 touchdowns. He was right on the verge, but it's good to spread it around. All right, Jacob Downey's happy with his 1-yard touchdown in his senior year.
Well, you know, I'm certainly not aware of those type of records, Jack, like you are, and we just try to run the play that we think is going to work, and it would have been nice for Jeff to get a record like that, but I think Jeff will take a state championship home in a couple of weeks, and he'll be happy about that.
I'm sure and that was back then he only had 2 touchdowns anyway, so who would have known what would happen in the second half. But congratulations, you came out. You're the favorite. It's hard to win this game as the favorite many times. You have